Okay. Perhaps it works this time? Maybe? Perhaps? Who knows? Maybe it's working, maybe it's not. I guess I can press a button and see where I am in a browser and see if it's working myself. Oh my god, it looks like it's working. Can I change scenes? Look at a desktop, perhaps? Back to a thing. Let's see. Is it working? If I see the scenes change on my thing, I will be very happy. But I'm not sure it's going to. Oh, it did! Okay! Mazel tov, ladies and gents. Okay, we're here. We're doing the thing. It's working. Things are theoretically actually working. Good to see everybody tonight. Yes, office hours for July 2024. Take 2. Glad that this is doing a thing. We're trying a new thing. For a long time, I've had challenges with Stream Elements not working with YouTube, so I've swapped to Streamlabs. It's a different program, and we're dealing with that. So, if anyone feels like donating 50 memberships, it would be great to test the functionality of the new system. Don't feel that obligated to, but it would be great to, see. Anyway. Well, as always, office hours. This is when we answer your railroad questions that you've either asked previously several months ago, because it takes me several months to get through these, or we talk about stuff that pops up in top chats and other conversations all about railroad topic things. Yeah, so we're going to be doing that tonight. I see Kentucky Rail fans here as our first top chat in this stream. I saw there was one in the last stream. I didn't get it. I'm sorry. But yeah, from Kentucky Rail fan, an engineer for 6 months. Well, I'm early, also half year already. Time is fake. Yes, it is. Very much so. Okay, well, I'm going to jump into Discord here and say hello, Discord. We've got several friends on with us tonight.
Hello, Discord.
Hi, Internet.
Hi.
And hopefully all this crap's actually working. Oh! Hey, look, a whistle.
I see your face.
A whistle just happened.
Whistle.
From our friend Modius. Hello, I have a rather curious question today. How does one handle steep, long grades on the railway with heavy trains? An example, going down a 6-mile, 6% grade, 3 K37 triple heading, and a rough 150 cars of steel and iron cargo. Pray? Well, hopefully you don't have 3 engines going downhill. The Rio Grande actually banned double headers or more downhill due to some derailments that they actually experienced on the railroad. Because the slack action and spring buffers and locomotives having their own individual independent brakes and can cause some things and cause crazy alignment problems as huge forces accumulate. So downhill with a bunch of cars, set a bunch of retainers, and then it's easy. So yeah, just do that. Yeah, a retainer holds the brake set, so you can take your set on the train, lap it, release it, and then whatever cars have retainers won't release when you release it. They'll retain that set for a number of minutes or whatever, depending on the setting on the retainer, and then it'll just continue going from there. So it's a pretty easy way to go down. And goodness, I'm getting all sorts of dings, and I'm seeing that I need to replace the default thingy for at least one of the things.
Yes, and the economy is well and truly broken thanks to Steam Fan Scott gifting 50 membership.
Oh, it's got to go individually and say everyone that's become a member first. I had the same problem on Stream Elements. We'll see if it'll play the birds at the end. I'm curious. If not, I might live tweak the birds to fix this, because the minimum alert setting's 2 seconds. So, yeah. So 50 is going to be 100 seconds of dings every 2 seconds. Okay.
Yeah.
We've got a little bit of work,
minutes, yeah.
a little bit of work to go to on this. I wasn't sure, because with Stream Elements you couldn't actually change the variance of the thing unless you had the thing enabled, and so I didn't disable the general somebody became a member thing, which is a challenge when somebody gifts 50. So either way, I've been submitted to 50 dings. I did ask for it, but I am going to go and try and fix that real quick while we're thinking about it. So
you did ask for it, and at least you didn't set your alert to the banana phone like Angry did, so it's not like
God,
half an hour banana phone.
That would be the worst. Yeah. Oh my God. All right. Well, I just changed it. Obviously, it might take a smidge of a second to update. We'll see. I think
this alert's going to go through as it was.
It probably will. Although I just refreshed it, so maybe it did, maybe it didn't. Can I now go back and get that to come back? Let's see. No, I don't see it. Okay. I may have... Can we... No, I wanted to see that. Single tier. We'll see if it loads in my feed or not. It might not. I don't know. Hopefully it does. Either way, we got a bunch of top chats to go through. Jason Pace, hey, it works now. Nice. Hey, good to see you. I'm glad it does. Twinlets 2, hey, Hyce. Here's 2 to the Zoomy. Have a good day. Cheers. Zimzam, gifting a membership. Thank you, my friend. White Star, oh god, it just jumped. Chat went all over the place. White Star 1222, hi Hyce, just to anger you, you're making the Garrett. Oh boy. Slayer's Long Hauler, are we there yet? Almost. Steampan Scott, gifting 50 memberships. I'm gonna try my damnedest to get this to replay if I get the option to. But I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna work. Which would be par for the course with everything else. Either way, sincerely appreciate you. I think it'll work now. I don't know. I can't really test it live, so we'll figure it out.
Fuck
I guess.
it, we're doing it live.
At the very least, I can give you the same thing that I've given the rest of the folks and manually played the birds via the cell phone, which is very important. It's it'll hopefully autoplay next time it actually happens. I think. I don't know. We're learning here day by day. Apparently, maybe everyone's shit's broken, but we'll find out. Anyway, Slandered Stone, 16 months. That's neat. Yes, it is. Can't believe it's been 16 months. Good to see you. Feel Fire. It's already August 1st over here. Time's fake. Yeah. Well, you are you are on the other side of the planet a little bit. So, CSX P48X. Cheers from the TB and RGP. Birds and Limes. Love to see it. Pacific Productions. How I thought about playing Run 8 Train Sim on the channel. V3 came out a couple years ago. Just got some DLC and like MP15 switchers and Viewliner Amtraks. I've never played Run 8 on the channel. I've had Run 8 since it came out. Actually, it was so long ago. It was computers ago, so I actually don't have it anymore. Though I did buy it because Casey and I thought we might do something with it.
We tried.
I don't know if you ever got it to work.
Nick and I did once for a stream, and that was one of the most painful games. It was enjoyable if you're doing a road train, but trying to switch in that game is terrible.
That game's interesting. They get a lot of sim stuff really right, from what I can tell, but a lot of it's really wacky. I was just chatting with my friend John, who's been on streams before. He's a conductor for Class 1 back east, and he said that they've added humping to the game, which, I mean, who doesn't love that?
Hey.
And it's apparently pretty cool, so I might be giving it another shot. We'll see. It's not really my neck of the woods, but yeah, who knows? So, Coaster Fan 5363, got people you want scared? Train horn at 2 a.m. Yeah, that would do it. Okay, let's see. Oh god, chat just jumped.
I report back with news.
Did you find plane?
I found plane. I was able to get footage of the inspection passes, and then right as they formed up with the lead plane, my phone overheated. So,
single tier. No footage. Single tier. Phone sad. Yeah, there is still a benefit to having a camera. Anyway, Sergeant Sylveon was going to get a membership, but already got gifted. Cheers to the generous individuals in here. Cheers to you. Thank you. Appreciate that. And yes, the generous folks, I never know what to do with. I'm hoping there's somebody else out there that wants to test my membership. You don't have to give 50, but like 10 or 20, one of the lower levels, just to make sure the shit works properly. Would be lovely if anyone's feeling hip. So, Susan Lil, what's better, Wall Shirts Valve or Baker Valve gear? Technically Baker, but not by much. Maintenance is easier. It's all pins. There's no sliding die blocks. Eric Brinker, where Burbs? I hope they fixed. We were having a smidge of a technical issue with them at the beginning of it, so anyway. B Pendragon, what's frothy, my foamers? My sister came up with that, and she's like, this has to be your new intro, and I included that clip. I wasn't going to say it or anything. I quoted it at Jersey, and he was like, that is the hardest ass intro, you gotta use that.
I think it would be funny.
Maybe I'll do it one time. It feels disingenuous. It feels a little silly to me. But then I had that clip in that members only video that she recorded the camera like aimed right at her face saying that, and I was like, all right, we'll put that in. So yeah, what's frothy, my foamers? Question for the prop: other than buffer and chain, what other couplings did I see in Croatia, and my thoughts on them compared to American knuckles? It was pretty much all buffer and chain. Did I see things and process them as anything other than buffer and chain? I mean, some of them were true, like buffer and chain. Some of them were buffer and screw link style chain. I don't think I saw any knuckles. I don't think I saw any Russian knuckles, not the SA3s. There might have been something with a chop coupler.
Oh, jeez.
But I might be conflating video games in real life at that point, so...
There is a large dichotomy in European coupling systems where, on one hand, you have buffer and chain, which fucking why? I will never understand why.
It actually makes sense. I get it now, and their system does make sense for their smaller use case. You can
and
be,
on the other hand,
you can be the worst engineer in the world. You could have somebody who just ham-fists the independent, and people wouldn't feel it because the buffers take up the slack.
So you're saying it's a skill issue?
Yes. Which, at the same time, is easier. I mean, it's so funny to talk about train handling, and people talk about, you know, European viewers will be like, oh, train handling, you don't have to do any of that stuff over here. And it's like, well, that's why we have engineers and you have drivers. Anyway.
It's also a structural simplicity thing.
True.
The other, like, the counterpoint to it is, like, on the Hyce units, they have the whole fucking, like, automatic, like, you get in there and...
Totally, it's MU'd, it's the air, it's the electricity, it's the everything.
Air, like, yes.
Yep.
And that's fucking cool.
Yeah, those are, I mean, we have those in light rail applications out here in the States too, but yeah, those are cool.
Yes, but they have it on big mainline rail.
Well, I wouldn't call it big. It is fast.
Well, big for them.
Yeah. Anyway.
It's okay.
Goose, I'm getting buried, so we need to continue on here. 80 former, so I have an interesting request, and to make it worth your time, I will send 50 chat if I accept. But I was wondering if I'd be willing to. Text limit will continue under this. Okay, good God. Critique a steam locomotive model you've been working on in Blender. You've been working on it for 6 months at this point. You wanted to show what was good and what could be improved. I would be happy to if you're open to receiving the criticism as it is. And whatever I say is not calling you an idiot or saying that you're bad at modeling, or just looking at the model as it is and what it may or may not need. Feel free and send it my way. You'll have to DM it to somebody else who passes it to me, or try and DM it to me. I don't read DMs during streams, so either tell me again that you did, or pass it to somebody else, and be happy to take a look at it. Jackson Wages, you just got here in time for Burbs. I don't think they're working, but anyway. Virtual Rail Fan, your local transportation museum got your F-18. Cool. Molden House saw a standard gauge. Oh, that just dropped me all the way down to the bottom. Great. Cool. Yeah, look at this. Okay. All right. Now I think we have things properly set up here.
I saw a Trof valve.
Modius! Would it be any different with European buffers as opposed to Knuckles, seeing the cursed K exists? I mean, different with buffers versus Knuckles? I mean, operationally they are different, but, you know, it's not the biggest change in the world. Middletown Branch Productions. Question for Professor Hyce. What would happen if one kept the Blowdown open for the longer than standard duration? This is one of those pseudoscience things that people keep bringing up all the time. Like, some people are like, oh, it creates a vortex and it causes a tornado and blah, 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 inside the boiler. And I don't know if anyone's ever been able to prove any of it. The long and short of it is that if you leave the Blowdown open too long and you cool down the boiler too rapidly, you can cause cracking. That's the biggest thing. That's why it's done in bursts. It's just like the injector. You don't want to heat up things too quick. You don't want to cool down things too quick. You start relieving pressure. You start cooling down, and you don't want to do that. So bad for the boiler. And some amount of time is generally the right movement there. So Trainspotter 454. Hey, Hyce, I have a cursed train question. Would it theoretically be possible to sleeve a locomotive boiler like a cylinder in a combustion engine?
So we
sleeving
actually,
the whole boiler?
So we don't sleeve boilers, but we have I can't remember what it's called. It's something Formula 1, and it's got like asphaltum in it, and we coated the barrels of all of our boilers, and they've lasted like 30-40 years like that.
I've heard, well, yeah, and 491's boiler has lasted 120 years as raw fucking steel. It's all about how you treat it. You can coat the inside of boilers. This stuff plenty of people do, as we just heard. And there's probably merit to coating insides of boilers too, but sleeving it would be very hard to do in any possible way. I don't see it being done in any way that makes sense. Because if you have rivets, that's not going to work. If you had a completely smooth welded barrel, okay, you could slip a sleeve in there, but then you have to seal it at the back, which means you got to get to it with no firebox in it, which means you're replacing a firebox, and then sleeving the firebox shape isn't... We're just replace the fucking barrel. People do sleeve engines, though, for what it's worth. Devil6060, hope you're doing well, Hyce. I probably have a good story for you to use on the next citation needed 3/4 idiot show. Gonna do some more research on it. What's the best way for you to send it without others looking into it? Email it to me. Hyce7777@gmail.com. Blue Jacket Warrior, member for 20 months. Do not hump. Caboose, hold my beer. He didn't even need beer to be held. He's not even here to be picked on. He's muted, deafened. But he did hump that caboose. Virgo Drusky, hey Hyce, I was wondering if you could help me understand the operation and use of trof valves. They seem really confusing being free-floating in the valve bore. A diagram can be provided. I've never run with them, but I'm in call with 2 people who have. So, Casey and or Zimsam, you feel like...
I was summoned, sorry.
You humped a caboose and no one was surprised.
Yeah. At a bunk car.
Yeah, that's true. You guys want to talk about trof valves?
Yeah, picture a regular valve spool, but you cut it down in the middle and you put nuts on the end of the valve rod, and it snaps out to those nuts, and when you lose pressure in your steam chest, it collapses and stays in the middle, covering the exhaust ports, so no steam can get out, and it just stays going between the 2 sides.
Yeah, it uncovers both inlets to the cylinders, and then they just switch between them, and it means you don't need a snifter valve. And then this all Trofimov valves are inside admission, because the inside admission of the steam forces the valve spool pieces out against the nuts to make them act essentially solid, and then the valve gear motion actually pushes them back. So when you go to drift a Trofimov engine, you have to put the bar in the corner.
You put the bar in center.
I will take the word from the Valley Engineer versus the Valley Fireman.
Snifters, you put it all the way forward. But your stream is just catching up to me right now for the images. But yeah, that's what they look like.
Yeah.
And they make a popping sound when you charge the steam chest, and the valves snap out to the end and go click.
They are a way cooler snifter valve, basically, by modifying the piston valve to be hella cool. Yeah.
They drift so much better.
Yeah, and you're not getting anywhere
they-
in your valve, and you don't have an extra thing, you don't have an opening to the atmosphere, and you don't deal with a lot of the bullshit that you deal with snifters and everything, so.
It's not like with the snifter where like if you speed up, it'll drop, or if you slow down, it'll pick up, and then you have to adjust your throttle going down a long grade. You just close the throttle, put it all the way forward, let your steam chest drop, put it in center, and then just run your brakes like you need. And it's super easy. I don't like it as a fireman because you pull no draft that way.
It's true.
So you're cranking the shit out of your blower, but
You just anticipate when you're gonna do it.
No,
Yeah.
you're also not getting a terribly large amount of draft out with snifters either. So,
no.
I mean, it's all if you're getting air out over the stack, it'll grab you a little bit, but that's about it. So, no. Good question. Hopefully that helped, Virgo. Spam Cat. Wait, it's been 2 months already since you've had a year. Yeah, apparently. Jordan Freeman. What's more appropriate for the ES&D, a Garrett or a double Fairley? Technically, by ES&D lore, it is the double Fairley because the DNRG had one. Eric Brinker. Will I be in Colorado during Labor Day weekend? Visiting there then, and hope to see you. I think that weekend I'll be in Colorado. Whether or not I'm in Durango is yet to be seen. I haven't planned out that far, so possibly. So we'll see. I'll be in Colorado at least, though. 94 Chevy
I have some
Z71. Made it. You don't have to chase cows tonight. You love that. And then the real hoop to something gifting a membership. Thank you. And Rex gifting 10 and turning off all memberships. Turned off the whole thing. Okay, same problem. Great.
You're welcome.
Thank you for testing. We'll have to continue testing. That's very frustrating. So I might have to survive with 50 dings, or maybe I just turn off. I'll just turn off the dings for the default member setting and then go from there. If I get a break in super chats, I'll do that. But anyway, Bolton House saw a standard gauge hopper coal maybe up in Rhinelander, Wisconsin earlier this week. Those things really did go everywhere, didn't they? DV Knuckles when. Yeah, I need to go back to the Knuckles mod. We're almost done with the fucking career playthrough. So, Undead Hooligan. Hey, Hyce, got some money today, so here's some. Cheers, thank you. You went by some track at your school, found some spikes, 2 plates, a broken piece of knuckle coupler, and a weird squiggly piece of iron next to the spike. Any idea what it could be? I would bet you it is an anchor. I would bet you money it's a tie anchor. If it's a weird squiggly piece of metal.
Does it look like it clamps under the rail?
If yes.
Yeah, if it was a squiggly piece of metal that looked like anything that's on screen right now, it was probably an anchor, which prevents axial translation of ties, movement of ties down the direction of the rail. Yeah. They are weird squiggly pieces of metal, and they're very neat and very important. Particularly when, I don't know, you run over the same piece of track several hundred times in a day. Stares at Colorado Railroad Museum. Solaris! Talking about the hump yard. Ever played Frogs SR with one, like, at Nashville, Radnor? Wink? Frogger with one at... No, I've not played Frogger in a hump, for real. No. Only been to humps once. Anyway, Brent Hinshot, what point during a restoration project, if replacing components, does it go from a restoration to building a new one using some old parts? Can it apply to anything from locomotives to a bicycle? The ship of Theseus and Grandpa's axe would all like to know your location. If you ask the British if you have any of the original parts, it's a restoration. The rest of us probably wouldn't say that, because I've been scrounging around for a Montezuma bolt to say it was a restoration, but haven't had a lick of luck yet. So, yeah, technically we could restore the 461 by British definition because we have a cab door, I think a number plate, and the Johnson bar. That's 3 parts. That's like a Class A restoration right there, building the rest of the locomotive brand new. It's definitely an argument of Ship of Theseus. Yeah, it's right in there because, I mean, at the end of the day, if you talk about RGS 20, they saved as much as they could, but they still had to throw out a bunch, and what they did save was not all from 20. Some of it was from 22, some of it was from 25. So what is it? It's a thing that you gotta end up figuring out for yourself in general, but at the end of the day, it says 20 on the smoke box, and on the side of the cab, so there you go. Jackson Wages, if I get a break in Super Chats. No break. I appreciate you. And XZY1579, do you signal backward for the train or loco for the case when the train is connected on the front? Ah! Hi, Casey. Hi, Zimzam. Good to see you guys are here.
I came back just in time.
Yes. So they're asking if you signal backwards or forwards, if the locomotive is behind the train or not.
Are we talking correct hand signals or West Coast hand signals?
This is why I said hi, Casey, and hi, Rex. So, on the West Coast, if you're using hand signals in the day, no matter what, it's all about where the engine is relative to you. So if I see the engineer over there, I want him to come towards me, I do this. I want him to go away, I do this. And Casey would tell you, if I want the engine to go forwards, I do this. And if I want the engine to go backwards, I do this. Which is the same at night for East Coast. Same thing at night. And then the West Coast changes to using East Coast signals at night. It's maddening. East Coast signals are genuinely better. I don't understand why we have the setup that we do, but that's what we have. So, yeah.
Man,
Operational perspective, going from like engine direction is easier to understand as the engineer because
Right.
it's like forward, and I'm like, okay, this is obviously forward.
I know what forward is, whereas what is the train to you? What if you're in the middle of a consist? How do you then define it? So it's easier to just define it based on where you are on the train. So
when I was learning, I was always a brakeman student with 901, and it's a center cab, and it actually has two sets of controls, one in each direction, and it's all linked. So it really broke my brain trying to learn East Coast with that engine. But other than that, it's better.
right. Yeah, if you don't have a ready set forward, then that does make it a smidge interesting.
North is forward. That is the rule.
North is forward.
Well, for our railroad.
I'm pretty sure that's a special instruction in our rule book because of the one engine.
Does the control stand not face forward? Is that why?
No, it's dual control stand, so both ends are forward.
Oh.
And it's an air throttle, so the throttles are linked too, so it's freakier.
No, it's not. It's not air.
Wacky.
I just serviced
It's
the
not air
throttle.
throttle.
It's all mechanical linkage.
It's continuous throttle, not air throttle. But it's still all interlinked, so it's wacky.
Weird.
It's all about where the shunter is relative to you. So if the shunter tells you go away from me, you go away, whether that's forwards or backwards. Vice versa when they signal you forwards.
So that's too confusing. No.
Look, tell you what, stay yourself into Mark's carry-on baggage if and when he gets over here, and I'll explain it to you. It makes a lot more sense once you've actually seen it on the ground.
I've seen it on the ground. We use West Coast hand signals to fuck with new engineers.
That's fun.
That didn't happen to me, so that's new.
All right, from 80 Former, you sent it as an email. If that isn't preferable, please tell me someone specific to DM the files to, but if you do email, it's titled Locomotive Critique Request. All right, well, I've got it. I've pulled it up. I'm not intelligent enough in Blender to actually open the blend and look around it, but I will take a look at the video you've attached in just a sec. Let me get through these other guys here. 94 Chevy Z71. On behalf of his asset protection agency, keeping your possessions safe from evil debt collectors like John Doe. Give it to Beans. Thank you. We need that. Mason Kuykendall, engineer for 18 months. What are the little dimples on the corners of railroad cars and locomotives? Polling pockets. For polling, which is a very dangerous, fun practice where you can switch cars on the adjacent track by sticking a stick between them. Let me pull up a picture of a locomotive that has one. I was like, I know it has one. K36s all have them quite readily. He's talking about the silver dimple right there. You shove a... Oh, hang on. The silver dimple right there. you shove a pole into that, you shove the pole into the corresponding bit on a car on the next track, and you could shove that car around, provided you don't, I don't know, break the pole. Which, yeah, always rumored that it it was outlawed because it was, illegal or dangerous or something, but never actually got outlawed. It's just a tremendously stupid thing to do. So, good question. Pacific Productions, when you joked about Deer Valley being a horror game, starting to see that, just add some Minecraft cave sounds when you're going through a tunnel or when it's night. You got Deer Valley Horror Edition. That would do it. Yeah. Add creepers to Deer Valley and that would be that. Okay, let's take a look at 80 Former's model. We said we would, and he tossed $50 my way to take a look at it. Okay, it looks like the video is loading up. You're moving the camera a whole bunch, but I would love to know what prototype the engine is, because that would help. Let me see if it's in his email. Right away, the crank pins on the rods look a little straight, at least on the tail crank pin. That looks a little unusual to what I'm used to, but again, I don't know the prototype, so let's take a look and see if I get some detail on what it is. It's a 484 based on both the 2926 from the Santa Fe and the CB&Q 5629. So you're okay, so it's a mix then. So it's not any singular locomotive. So anything goes. Okay, interesting. All right. Drivers are big based on the skeleton rig you've put there. Typically, the one thing that I'm seeing right here at the back is that, for a fun little detail, oh god, watching a video, I can't watch this whole video on stream because 21 minutes, but I can send you back details on the whole thing. But you've got the rods set up here almost like they are fork blade rods. I didn't get to post this video, damn it. But some engines, let me MS Paint. This is a fun little tidbit, and I actually talked about it a smidge in the video I recorded today. Where some locomotives have different design schemas with the way the rods go. So an engine like 491 has rods that have what's called a knuckle joint. So you have wheels, you have 4 wheels even, say. Now let's just do 3 for the sake of being easy. You have your crank, you connect to the next crank, that's great. Okay, then how do you connect to the next rod, right? So some engines will do a thing where they go further past, they have the crank there, they have the crank there, then they'll have the knuckle joint, which is a separate pin, and then the rod connects in and ties in over there, so that you have a separate joint separate of the crank, okay? Some big superpower engines, which I first learned about this on the Lima Berks, and come to find that engines like 844, 4014, etc. also have this sort of thing. They share the cranks all the time. They don't have any knuckle joints. And the reason I'm bringing it up is specifically because you showed this feature on the back rod, which we'll get to in a second. But the way it looks from the top is that one rod forks out around the blade of the other rod. So you have a crank pin there for the front driver, you have the crank pin running in here, you have the rods sharing that, so the rod's now in double shear, and the rod's set up like that, then you have the other crank through there, okay? Rather than having an independent joint, you have this unified joint of 2 things in one place. And so when we're watching your video and you're showing how this locomotive looks, we're scrolling around looking at the rods on the engine, and the tail rod looks like it's a forked rod, but there's nothing connecting behind it. So you would never have that. You would have a solid end of a rod there because it would just make more sense to do that. So that's one thing right away. Brake rigging, rear clasp looks fine. They look like some of the box POC drivers that like the Santa Fe Hudsons or Pacifics would have had, like the 3415. I recall those drivers looking like that. Valve gear animation, it's fun. You've got it in forwards. It looks like your jacket's totally smooth. That's not really how it usually goes. I don't know if you care to have those details or not. On an engine this big, you'd have more than 2 sander lines, guaranteed. You'd probably have one for each driver. Those headlights could use another pass, probably with some reference. The Mars light animation's really cool, but it's not the lens in the Mars light that moves. It's the actual bulbs inside. That whistle is very small. The bell animation's great, and then you've got the piston pneumatic ringer. That's really cool, actually. That's well done. And you've got the smoke box front as riveted on. It would be bolted on. There's sound to explain. I had a feeling. I will have to watch this whole thing and give you in-depth feedback. And I'm happy to all the way through at some point. But on stream's not the best time. It looks like you've got a lot of the broad strokes are really, really good. There's a lot of details that need to be gone through if you want it to be a super perfect model, but so far it looks super fun, so thank you for sending it. I appreciate that. But we got to keep rolling too, so again, thanks for sending it, 80former. But we got some more folks, and I haven't even gotten to a single question that's pre-asked, so gotta get there. But yeah, feel free to hound me and remind me on checking that to watch through, but 21 minutes on stream's a little bit too much to commit to. I hope you understand. Joe Pomeroy, why are diesel electric engines when operating an MU facing different directions? Also, why do the headlights flash versus not? Different directions, doesn't matter. They'll run either way when they're MU'd, so either way they're facing doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, some railroads will pick certain things for certain operational schemas. We had a train out of Interbay called the Roo, ran from Interbay to Roosevelt, Interbay Roo, where there was no Y at the other end that was close, so they couldn't turn around the engines, and it was the same cars that would leave that would come back. So they always requested back-to-back power. So one engine facing each way, so they could just run around the train the other way, take it the other way. In some cases, for like high priority trains with extra power, like a Z train, you want to have at least two engines facing the lead way, and then whatever's behind is whatever. But if you have two engines facing the same direction to lead, if the lead engine breaks for some reason, you could put, take it off and then have a leader right there, or you could swap it around if you needed the horsepower still. So they try and fix it that way. Headlights flashing versus not seems to be a railroad by railroad kind of thing based on ditch light requirements. I'm not sure. I don't think any of our engines at BNSF had flashing ditch lights. That might be an East Coast requirement. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where the flashing ditch lights comes from. Pacific Productions adding creepers to Deer Valley gives the term Explodey Boys a whole new meaning. Yes, it does. Let's see. Hang on. Chat has frozen. Let's see. Craig Bryant. Hey, Mark, do you think Union Pacific is actually going to preparing the big boy to pull a tonnage worth of freight up Sherman Hill here in the next year or two? I believe they might. I hope they do. I don't believe it. I honest to God, said that, hoping that Ed might humor me a little bit. We'll see. I haven't heard anything from him, but I haven't shot him a message either, so I hope they do. Sims Ammo, we can hound you, go to the post office. No. Never.
Never.
I have one fault in life, and I cannot go to the post office, especially not to mail something for you, so we'll get there. Anyway.
Or I'll just pick it up when I drive out there.
Yeah, possibility. Anyway. James Chase, is the blowdown hard to open on locomotives? Yes and no. If you give it a good kind of lean and tug, it'll come easily, and it'll just open and do the thing. But if you're just trying to open it just by hand with nothing else, no, it doesn't tend to want to open. You usually have to put your back into it. But if you get the momentum into the handle and it's got enough slop in the linkage, it'll usually go.
Prepare your beer. It depends.
Yeah.
It depends.
It depends. It does.
I need somebody to take that everything he just said out of context, because that sounded very naughty.
You got to do that. You got to do that to me. That's fine.
Where are the blowdown valves on your engines? Because ours are all over the place. One 97s is on the running board, and you pull it straight up.
Goofy. 91 has one on each side in the mud ring, and there's directly between your chair and the cab wall, basically. That's where the handle is. She's the easiest. 346 is about the same, but only on the fireman side. And then 20s is in front of the cab wall, and the linkage comes up through the front cab wall, so you have to pull the linkage back. And 20s is a fucking chore. 91s, if you really know it, you could rip on it with one hand and get it. 20s, you have no luck. Literally, you usually have to get on your knees and rip it. And Dusty will now come in here and say that I'm a whiny little bitch or something, and that he can do it with his pinky or something. But that's for him. So
Yeah.
Yes, it depends. Me.
The SYs have a full-on like mechanical advantage lever setup in the cab that has a full lock plate and everything, but you can just like open it with the palm of your hand.
That's pretty cool. I figured something out. So from Kentucky Rail Fan, BN had flashing dish lights on some SD40s and their 70 Macs. Okay, interesting. I never had a 70 Mac at my shop, and I never saw an SD40 from the BN that had them. But that is the fun of variety. Jackson Wages, you give me $2 to open a P.O. box. That is on the list of shit to do. We'll get there someday. Monster for Skillet, welcome to the Rakeman. Cheers. Thank you. Pirate Pilot, howdy Hyce. YouTube, hope you're doing well. Hope you enjoyed the trip to the old country trademark. Probably should have used this question milestone chat for a question, but you can't think of anything. Have a good stream. Thank you. Appreciate you guys. Okay, we're going to get through a couple pre-asked questions, and then I'm going to have to pee soon. But we got a good question via Discord. I always ask for questions like once every quarter or whatever, and if you didn't get a question in, I'm usually pretty sympathetic to people, you know, asking it later. But we got a question about this video on Instagram from Utionan Doris. Sorry, I butchered that. Big Six has counterweights in the crank for cylinders 1 and 3, but not for cylinder 2. Is the counterweight for cylinder 2 incorporated into the counterweights on the cylinders 1 and 3, or how else is it balanced, if at all? And why was it / how had it been designed this way instead of having 3 equal counterweights, 1 on each cylinder? Let's take a quick watch. It's a cool video. Seeing a Shay run is super cool, and then this in slow-mo. You can see the Stevensons in full forwards. It's pretty freaking cool. But you can see here, big counterweight on this connecting rod. Nothing on that one, and then big one on that one. And this is a great question, and this is also a great question that I would ask whoever built and or modified Big Six to do that. I have no bloody idea why you would do that. Like, no idea. Shays are always an interesting thing of balance. I've been messing around with Shays quite a bit recently. I wonder why. And I'm starting to appreciate them a lot more, but still, there's a lot of interesting nuance and challenge to that sort of thing. And to me, it seems crazy to not have an equal balance for that third cylinder. And I don't know why. I could never know why. So good question.
Is that middle cylinder in time with any of the other cylinders?
No, they're all 120 degrees apart, so you get 6 chuffs per rev. So it should have its own thing. It's not like it's getting offset by those weights necessarily. I mean, possibly if you made the one side of the one weight heavier, but it doesn't look like that. They look pretty symmetrical, so yeah. Andrew Frame is saying it doesn't look like the counterweights are directly set opposed with the rods they're attached to. Let's take another look. Andrew's got more experience with fucking logging engines than I do, Lord knows, so let's take another quick watch here. It's a freaking neat video, so it doesn't hurt me. Okay, rod down, and then front rod is all the way up, almost. Oh, you know, Andrew's right. It looks like they are because when you see it, but no, because that's like almost all the way up. they're not clocked precisely against rods 1 and 3, are they?
No, they're not.
No, they are slightly asymmetrical. So I assume that must counter for that. And they must be doing that because that's where they have more space, because they're kicking the counterweights out on the valve side of things versus this cylinder that's stuck in the middle. Which I guess you could probably fit the counterweight in that same space because it looks like it's the same space. I don't know why you'd balance it that way. Maybe having the weight at the extremities keeps it more even for all the attachments further out than stuff in the middle, which is built into a rigid casting? I don't know. I get my assumption, I guess, now seeing that, great point by Andrew, would be that they balanced the whole triple engine bolted on cast unit as one thing, as opposed to individual cylinders, which I couldn't tell you. I could not. I did not do well in dynamics, so I couldn't tell you 100%. But what a great question. So, yeah, and cheers, Andrew, for extra context as always. Crazy Jack 3357. Can I talk about the different types of tenders and their pros and cons, like standard, switching tender, Vanderbilt, centipede, etc.? Well, that's a fun question. I don't have good reference for this, but you typically you have to base the tender on what you need it to do, right? So if you're going to be hauling over the road, you want a big tender that can hold a lot of fuel. Let me pull up like picture of the big boy, right? Big boy's tender is the wrong tender, but it's huge. It's the height of the cab, whether it burns oil or not. The bunker or the coal pile would be the height of the cab. It's huge. It holds a ton of water, and they add extra water space in there. It's tucked in for presumably dynamic envelope reasons or weight or something. Because with the 4014, I mean, you've already got so many axles supporting it. If you had it square all the way around, it would need extra bracing, additional construction challenges. And then as well, it would be a lot more pressure to hold. It would be harder to seal for leaks with a square bottom versus a rounded bottom, particularly for something of that size. So that's probably why they rounded it off. But you've already got 7 axles holding it, so you know it's a heavy tender, right? Versus like a Vanderbilt tender. Oh, gotta search for not the man or the university. Vanderbilt tender is not necessarily ease of construction because circles are harder to make than flat sheets, but for ease of geometry and engineering stress. Stuff that's pressurized, which weight adds pressure, likes circles. Circles are nice and easy, and there's less seams at the low portion to leak unless they're longitudinal seams, but you have less weird corner seams to seal on a Vanderbilt than you would on a square tender. And it's circular, so it's pretty strong with less bracing than a corresponding simple flat tender, or a kind of common tender, right? Like if you look at something like, I don't know, DNRGW F81 class engine, they had these big squared off tenders that look, well, that one had a Vanderbilt, but some of them had these big squared off tenders like this that required, you could see all the rows of rivets, you could see all the rows of bracing, so much support to support that big flat side from all the weight of that water trying to crush and spill out the sides. Whereas a circle, it all slumps down and it self-supports. So Vanderbilt's a little bit better in some cases for the engineering stress, but volumetrically for the same dynamic envelope, you get more in a square tender. It just requires more engineering to make. But more engineering, less fab time. So some people prioritized the Vanderbilt thing, some people didn't. A little bit of differences there. Versus a switching tender or other kinds of tender. Like most recently, I experienced the Kriegslokes, the BR-52s, German engines with the bathtub tender, which is kind of a little bit of a Vanderbilt thing. But then the coal bunker is super narrow. And it's all about vision. It's all about seeing right out the back of the cab past the tender. You get so much easy visibility when the tender isn't up like that. So an engine like this, you'd expect to have 2 directions of service, as opposed to something like the big boy that would just be going primarily forwards and is a bit more of a lean out the window kind of pain in the butt to run the other direction. That doesn't mean you can't, but that you'd expected it regularly, right? And so that sort of same thing comes in with a switching tender or a slope back tender or anything like that. You're less worried about capacity because you're at the yard. You can always go back to the shop and get more goodies or whatever. But you're more worried about the visibility, where you want to be able to see what you're coupling into much more easily. So it's always a sort of hodgepodge between those things. Capacity, engineering complexity, fabrication complexity, and then case of service, if I had to summarize it up. So that's a great question. I see a couple top chats have come in, so we want to nail these before I run to use the restroom, then we'll keep going. Modius, last super chat for me. Got to book a hotel for the weekend. Get a ride Steam for the first time. Dude, congrats. That's exciting. Did I ever receive your picture request in the mail that you sent in February? You're going to ask me to dig up something from February in my email? I hope it's in my email. If it was in my mail. Oh, goodness. I don't know if I could tell you.
If it was your mail, you would have to look at the office hour stream from February.
Right. Let me see if I have an email from Modius. Yes, I did. From February, you wanted some close-up pics of the Bissell post. Oh my shit. Wow. Yeah, I remember reading this, and I marked it as read, and like the good human that I am, I marked it as read and was like, yep, I read that, I addressed it. No, I didn't. Okay. Yeah, dude, I will... Yes, Bissell post pics. Yes. I'll be at the museum later this week. I'm leaving that up over there so it doesn't go away. My sincerest apologies. I am an ADHD sieve of a brain of a human, and today has been one of those kinds of days where it's just all over the place. I had so many random things and stuff coming out. I was kind of scatterbrained and scatterblasted earlier, so gonna need some recoup time, I think. But either way, I'll make that right. My sincerest apologies, Modius. Jordan Freeman, did I know there's a QJ in a museum in Germany? No, I didn't. That's actually kind of cool. Molden House, was there a Hycer that had more than 2 cylinders? Not that I'm aware of. I wouldn't be surprised if someone pops up with a picture of one, but I don't think so. Craig Bryant. Oh god, it just jumped. There's a tender that holds about 48 tons of coal and 19,000 gallons of water. That's a big fucking tender. Big boy holds something like 25,000 gallons of water and like 20 tons of coal, I think? Maybe it's more like 23 or 24, I don't remember. It depends on stuff, I think. But 48 tons of coal, that's a lot. I'd love to hear which engine that is. That's cool. Jordan Freeman, if you remember correctly, a Trains Magazine special said 4014 burns 30 gallons of oil per mile. I'm certain that it depends, but I would bet that. Yeah. Sir Liv, got a long question that you'll have to PM you for full context, but the short version is, how would a steam loco fare in an earthquake? Interesting. Yeah, I would love to hear the full context. My guess would be as well as the railroad? Like, if the railroad didn't do too much of this, it would probably be okay. If it did, it might get put, you know, in the dirt or something. I don't know if it'd break the engine. The engines are pretty strong. If it was really crazy earthquake, it might start, you know, breaking things like it'd break anything else, but they're pretty sturdy objects and they have some suspension, so I'd imagine they would do okay unless it was a crazy intense earthquake. And as I'm scrolling, I see that Noah Jet, not a member, not a top chat or anything, but asked if I liked roller coasters. Yeah, I love roller coasters. I'm a kind of a closet roller coaster fan. Been to Cedar Point, need to go back. Yeah, love that shit. So, let's see. Okay, let me get this back into the right spot. Matt the Cracked, if SP and UP had 410.2s and others had 210.4s, why were there no 410-4s. Just didn't get designed, I guess. Shrug. It's fine. I guess nobody needed more firebox. I mean, when you're talking about 10 drivers, I mean, you're talking about relatively small drivers at the end of the day, which is part of the thing. Let's take a look at the UP. Let's take a look at the 412 too, because I'm curious. I'm postulating right now, trying to get you an answer. And yes, there's the answer. Okay, when you look at the UP 412 too, this is a model, but the drivers are so small to have 12 of them that you already got the last set of drivers underneath the firebox anyways. Why are you doing it? Why would you do a 410-4 when you could do a 412-2 and get extra traction out of it? That's the thing. The drivers are then so small when you have so many that you can like live with having the firebox on top of it, which is an older style design, but it means that, okay, rather than a 410-4, we do a 412-2. Now we're getting more power out of the engine. Third cylinder, well, bam, like, that would be why. It's an optimization thing. A 410-4 didn't make sense when the driver's that small. So, anyway, good question. Allison Chain, speaking of tenders, you should check out the Central Vermont M3A consolidation tenders. Those are wacky looking. Central Vermont M3A consolidation locomotive. See if I can get a picture.
I think 97's tender is a Central Vermont consolidation tender. I just don't remember what class.
It's not too terribly wacky looking. They're pretty tall coal Oh, it must be this one. Ease of construction, flat water tank. All the coal. That's kind of silly. That's interesting. I assume that's the one you mean. Because some of these other ones look kind of normal. But yeah, it's got to be... That's kind of goofy. Yeah. With an Alesco feed water, we really care about our feed water. We just don't want to have much of it. They must not... Why would you need so much coal but not so much water? I guess the coal deck doesn't go all the way down. You can see the shovel sheets part way up, which is part of it. But I don't understand why you wouldn't do... I guess they wanted the switching visibility.
Yeah, it almost looks like the coal deck is level with the top of the tender deck.
It's
like
not quite. It's not quite the top of the tank. Based on, if you can believe this model, it's halfway. Yeah. There's a rivet seam right there on this model. I don't know if it's true or not, but it seems reasonable. So that's interesting.
Cool. RCV tender has awesome rearward visibility.
Yeah, you gotta love that.
Like, it and 3025's tender, you can just turn around in the seat. You don't need to lean out the window at all. It's great at Christmas.
Those are nice in that stuff, so. Moritz Schwarzer, while you're on the Kriegs look, you sent that video to your email. Is that sizzling sound what you think it is? Steel on steel grinding? It probably is. I know you sent that to me, and I saw it, and I was like, oh yeah, I was supposed to react to that on stream. Then we closed stream down. Let me have that queued up. I still have to horse like a piss race. So I'm gonna queue that up real quick at the couple timestamps you've got, and we will review those on my return. But I want to get the rest of these top chats if I can. Thank you, Moritz. Craig Bryant, those tenders are called Coast to Coast tender. There aren't all that many pictures, but they're out there. Yeah, those big ones. Cool. Solaris, by the way, did I hear about the steam explosions in Yellowstone? The ones from the ground. Yes. That was crazy seeing some of the video of that. Glad nobody got hurt. Treewalker93, hey Mark, I think I already know the answer to this, but why do you almost never see ball valves used in steam applications, especially since they perform so well at throttling flow? I know that they're like kind of verboten to some degree in steam applications. In steam, like I've heard so many people be like, oh, they're using ball valves. And I've never heard an explanation why personally, and I personally don't know why. I have heard that some ball valves are not rebuildable, which makes them not great, but I've heard there are rebuildable ones. Shrug, I haven't seen, I don't honestly know the answer, and I've not sat and thought about it enough. I've just lived in my own space, as to why we use what we use. A A lot of times the pressure rating's not high enough, I know, but if you had a rated valve, I don't know what the immediate issue would be other than maintenance over time, perhaps. Like, you can't lap a ball valve, I wouldn't think. Which, in a steam engine, everything else is built for rebuildability. So,
there are steam ball valves. They have replaceable seats. The other really nice thing is if you get a 90-degree ball valve, you can stick a poppet valve essentially through it. And then you have essentially a double valve, so you have a backup. So even if the ball valve fails, the poppet valve with the stem going through the 90 can seal still.
That's pretty cool.
They use them in submarines a lot.
I would not be surprised if it's an older holdout of ball valves coming up to tech and steam people being steam people and holding to tradition. There might very well be big details about it, but I genuinely don't know. But good question. I'm gonna get through a couple more of these. You guys are just keep bringing them. I love that. The support's great, but I have to pee. Nickel Plate Road 777. You say small, but the 9000s had 67-inch drivers. Yeah, that's small in terms of giant UP power. I mean, if you're talking about that versus an 80-inch driver, you're not gonna fit an 80-inch driver underneath a firebox on a 17-foot tall engine. The Kriegslokes have a very similar, maybe they're not 67-inch. They're pretty tall. They might even be in the 50s. I might be full of shit. But they put them under the firebox, but the locomotive's only 14.5 feet tall. Yeah, it's got to be a 50-inch driver situation. Small in context compared to the other UP stuff, but anyway. Virtual Row Fan currently operating a 412-2 in Railworks right now. You've been testing it. Love that. I love those engines. Joker 1200, you sent me a message on Discord. Can I take a look when I get a chance, please and thank you? Yes, I shall. And that's where my patience is going to run out in terms of needing to horse like a piss race. So entertain the people.
Entertain the people? Oh no. Sims M. Corey, I don't know how we're going to handle this.
I can only talk about Valley Railroad steam engines and submarines.
I was about to say, entertain the people. I'm out of my element here. I'm really out of my element here.
Lubricate your bearings, kids, otherwise you'll wipe all the Babbitt out of them.
Do that, yes. Do that.
Important.
The only way I can be entertaining is if I do something stupid.
I would not recommend that. However, given the right circumstances and appropriate precautions taken.
Oh no, there is no precautions.
Oh, Middletown branch, here you go. You like the Valley. I was talking to the other guys on stream about this earlier, but I got to briefly, I fixed and then got to slightly run the greatest speeder of all time. It has an inline 6 gas engine and a 5-speed transmission. And it's like fully equalized suspension, so it just glides over track even if it's terrible. I only got it into second gear today, and it was still a dream. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Now I need to build a speeder for myself with an inline 6, like International Harvester engine or something.
Oh god. Are you going to make a gauge convertible?
Maybe.
Oh god.
I'm gonna build a scale. They make scale engine kits. I'm gonna make a scale one, 1/5 size, and then put it in a scale speeder that I can ride.
There you go. That's how you do it. Oh. Entertain the people.
Middletown branch. Ask me a question about the Valley. I might be able to answer. That's all I got right now.
What's the Valley's Christmas schedule?
Yes.
Cool.
Lots of many train. Lots of train.
Train equal yes.
So many trains.
I was gonna say I thought I knew the Valley's Christmas schedule and it was just a dumpster fire.
It's me firing and getting lots of overtime.
Well, hey, you like that? I'd love to come see it this year, maybe if I can sneak it, but Lord knows my schedule is a dumpster fire of its own.
Yeah, no kidding.
Okay, there's so many more top chats that I still gotta get through that I don't want to lose. I know Midland, hold in my head for me, please. We need to watch the Kriegslok stuff, and I need to watch what was sent to me in Discord by Joker1200.
So, Kriegslok and Discord.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Right.
Chevy Z71. That goofy tender looks like a horse show wagon, just a little exaggerated, kind of. XZY 1579 gifting 5 memberships. Thank you. Appreciate it. Stein, 50 euros. Goodness. Thank you so much, mate. Hey, Hyce, hello from Slovenia. Fun facts about the two locos from the museum. The sad little NG040 you saw wasn't in its factory condition. It worked for a steel mill, and they modified it to heck. And the 3-cylinder loco is one of 3 remaining. That's amazing. Dude, that museum, I love that. I got so many interesting comments back on that video, or those series of videos. Some were assuming that I was being hateful about it, and that was kind of frustrating to read. But some of it was a lot of good discourse between people, adding extra context. And I really think when I finish all of my European content from this past trip, I want to do a, hey, this is what I learned video. This is what I was wrong about, because I was wrong about a lot of shit. I didn't know. I assumed, or I guessed shit about some stuff, and a lot of times I was right, sometimes I was wrong, and a lot of people had a lot to say about it, and I've learned a ton since, and it was, I wish I would have had someone there guide me through it. It would have been so cool. But that museum was a last minute trip. My mom found it. We're in Slovenia already. I had no idea. I shocker, spoilers. You guys know how often streams are planned in advance. I suck at planning. That's not my skill set. And so my mom was like, "Oh yeah, there's a museum in Ljubljana we could go look at." And I was like, "Oh really?" And I was like, I pulled it up, and I saw the picture on Google Maps of the interlocking room, and I was like, "We're fucking going. I don't care. Like, we have to go see that." And it was such a treat. Yeah, cheers for the extra, little details there. Feel free, shoot me a DM, email, whatever, man. I'd love to chat. So, goodness, that was such a cool place. So, appreciate you. Aaron Miles, Santa Fe laughs in 74-inch driver Texas's 5011. God, those things have 74-inch drivers?
Yeah, they're
Christ
huge.
on a bike. Yeah, I love those engines. Those engines are fucking cool, but goodness. Spots, have I ever been to Scranton, Pennsylvania? And if so, will I ever go back? I've never actually been to Scranton yet. Yeah. So, shrug. Maybe I'll go. I don't know. Is that where Steamtown is?
That is where Steamtown is.
Well, I'll have to go at some point.
It's a neat place.
It's something. Yeah, it would be fun to see. See another big boy. See all that they have. So, I might be driving to Pennsylvania. We've talked about this last stream too. I was thinking about driving to Pennsylvania for the September thing. I'm not sure if I want to or not, but it makes some things easier and it would make some things harder. So, but either way, yeah, I'm in Pennsylvania. I can guarantee you, I will be at the East Broad Top on Saturday, September 14th. Come say hi. There'll be a meet and greet even. So put that in your calendars. The week before and some of the days after, I will probably also still be in the region, whether or not I drive or fly. So whether or not more things come from there, we will see. If the people from the Railroaders Museum in Altoona are watching, I've gotten your email. I'm horrible at responding, as evidenced by other top chats. I do want to come see you guys. Anyway, about the cracked, wouldn't a 410-4 be more flexible than a 412-2, but have just as much pulling power because of the bigger firebox and be able to run more places? I'm sorry if it sounds stupid. No, you're right that a 410-4 would technically, if you had the same size drivers, the 410-4 would have a shorter rigid wheelbase, which means it could go more places, most likely. That said, the pulling power piece is not there because you lost a driver. You now lost weight on drivers. You lost the ability to convert pulling power into traction. And those engines are pretty much designed to do that. So like if you were to take a 412-2 and make it a 410-4 without changing anything else, it'd be a slippery pile because you've lost the weight on drivers. So you don't sound stupid at all. It's a great question. and smells like Kenosha's raging, so I must have a sip of beverage.
Yes, beverage.
Out of a fine Tricolor Herald's ES&D pint glass, available now, he says, pitching the store. It's fine.
Buy the merch.
Buy the merch. The store is back up. It's been back up for a little bit, and the merch helps keep us going. So appreciate you guys.
And just to preempt the question, is international shipping still in the works?
Still in the works. I tasked Leighton with it, but he's in the middle of trying to get some more stuff ordered to make sure it shows up before Christmas. And the lead time on order stuff versus getting international shipping. International shipping, when we figure it out, Boolean, bam, it's acceptable. Getting stuff ordered, long lead time. So he's focused on getting some new cool stuff made right now, which is exciting. Including new train cars. So, anyway. Jackson Wages, dear entertainers, entertain me. Oh god, this is how far back I am. I hope you entertained him.
We tried our best.
Good. Let's see. Matt the Cracked, you're just a huge sucker for rare wheel arrangements. Yeah, they're freaking cool. I get it. 3900 class, you pinged me in Discord, but you knew somewhere, you'd seen it somewhere at the UP Draftsman had a preliminary design for a 410-4. Well, that is extremely germane to our current conversation, so I will take a look at that. It's a folio. Okay, see, look at this. This is funny. The Lincoln type. Well, God, that would have been a cool name for an engine. It looks like a 412. They must have been workshopping between the two of them. And look, how much firebox are you getting with the ittiest bittiest little wheel that's gonna do nothing versus stabbing another driver right there? Now you get it, right? That's cool.
There's a point of diminishing returns, and I think it was reached.
Oh, so they were doing this. They were the proposed types. Okay. So the 410-4 was 73-inch drivers, so bigger drivers, way less weight on drivers, small cylinders, more pressure. Okay, the tractive effort would have been the same as the or better than the 410-2, but the 412-2 fucking clobbers it with smaller drivers. It does win out in grade area, but you see that with the 412-2, you get the grade area back because you get the support under the firebox again. This is actually a fascinating freaking diagram. We could nerd out about this for a while. 3900 class, cheers.
And then I guess the bottom engine in that list is an FEF.
Must be a small one. It's 77-inch. That's not a tip.
Ones.
Is that, did the FEF ones have 77s?
The ones had 77s, and then the 2s and 3s had 80s, I think.
Oh, and from the year 1927, that would make sense for a 1. Huh. That's pretty freaking cool, honestly. But yeah, the stepped smoke box, that's so goofy. You can see the lines in it already. They knew what it was going to look like, but wow.
The lineage is there.
That's really cool. Yeah. Here in this table lies why we have a 412-2. That's brilliant. Some of that stuff is some of the most interesting shit to look at. That's fantastic. XZY1579. Why doesn't tender water freeze in winter? Because you can blow the injector back into the tender tank and warm it up. / everything leaks and heats everything. Southern Pacific AC9, good to see you, buddy. After reading rails to carry copper, Magma 1 and 2 had spotlights put on them instead of headlights while ping with pictures. Was that a known practice? Not that I'm aware of. I've never heard of that before, but that's kind of neat. Where'd you put the pictures? I guess ping me with the picture. Oh, you're working on it. I see you're typing right now.
The ping is in progress. And
The Magma engines, they're such wacky, neat, cool little dudes. Okay, so this one, yeah, it's the swivel gun version of the headlight. So here's the number 1.
Oh, the trainable, basically the floodlight.
Yeah.
Headlight.
Well, I guess you could aim it.
Yeah.
Which, no, I've never seen that anywhere else. The magma stuff is so nifty. Such a strange little engine. So cool. Yeah, I guess the benefit is you could aim it. The challenge is that it's more complex and it's not a standard part. It's not like Pile National offered it. So...
I like how the dynamo's where the headlight would be.
Right. Yeah, just put it right there, front and center. It's fine. Yeah, it's cool. And that thing's got a dual head. That thing's got a dual head pump governor on it. And whenever this 0-pixel image was taken, that's rad. That's cool. I don't think I've ever seen a dual head pump governor on a 9.5-inch air compressor before. Not in a picture, at least. Not that I've processed. That's pretty cool. That's funny.
Neat little dude.
Very neat. Steam fan Scott, will there be a tricolor logo hat? I'll have to chat with Leighton specifically on it. Tricolor stuff's more to produce, and hats are a little bit harder to produce than shirts. So my gut's saying it's a little bit harder to do. That doesn't mean that we won't do it.
It just means it's going to be more expensive.
It's probably going to be more expensive. So
trust the guy who works at the Broad Top and orders all of their merch.
Angry's here. Hey, man.
Hello.
I was advertising for you on stream, so
I appreciate you.
We're gonna be there. It's gonna be a thing. Meet and greet, some rock and roll. I might drive out so I can bring multiple guitars, so I can play end of the line properly on a 12-string. That's actually one of the biggest determinations between me driving out or flying out. Is like, well, I could bring the 6-string and the 12-string if I drive.
Nice.
Be silly. So anyway, XZY1579 gifting another 5 memberships. Thank you, friend. You've been very kind this stream. Appreciate you. Asikar Tayan, I think. Sorry. Speaking of Pennsylvania, the cursed 010-2 lives about an hour and a half north of Pittsburgh at a small museum in Greenville for anyone interested. Oh, I know that. The Reuben Wells. I didn't realize that was near Pittsburgh.
I don't think that's the one they're referring to. I think they're referring
Is
to
that a different 010-2?
I think they're referring to the massive like Union Railroad switcher.
Oh. Okay. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, that'd be fun to go see. Wasatch 4017, too bad you can't have a sip of beverage in the ESD caboose combine / gondola. Yeah, no, real G is a thing. So, anyway. 80, former look on top of the cab. Yeah, exactly, the spotlights. Goofy. And yeah, everyone's saying that it is the Union engine. Okay. Fun. All right, well, we gotta watch the Bosnia stuff.
Kreeslok, and there's a Discord message.
Yep, Kreeslok, Discord message. This is the Union 010. Oh, the brick shithouse DMIR one.
Yeah. That one.
Yeah. It's so stupid it doesn't have a lead truck. but it's hella cool.
It looks like it should too.
It does. But it's not really space. Like if they just extended the deck, another 2 feet, there would be. But yeah, that's rad. Anyway, so we have 2 timestamps from this video. Steam and Bosnia. They're actually the same timestamp. Did I open the right videos? Because he sent 2 links. Okay, let me pull this off to the side real quick while I sort that out. Because I could have sworn that there were 2 different links, and why did that just... Google Chrome. Google Chrome, what are you doing, sweetheart?
Chrome is being Chrome.
Chrome's been on a harder struggle bus than normal lately, and it's been frustrating.
Well, it's not as hard of a struggle bus that I had when my hard drive decided I don't want to work anymore.
That is a struggle bus. I had that. That was... I've had drives fail before, and that's like the freaking worst. Okay, those
Too
timestamps
terribly
are entirely bloody wrong. YouTube is just not even linking them at the right times. Because one says it's the same video, but it's 2 different times. That's why. Okay. Sorry, sorry, Moritz. We'll get there. I'm just gonna have to manually set the timestamps because the timestamps aren't working. One's at minute 47, and then one is at 27:23. Okay. Got it set. There we go. Okay. I see more top chats come in, but we're going to watch this. So I'm going to pause the music real quick because we're going to have some train music to listen to, hopefully, here. So the first clip is the one that's at 146-ish. This is the mine where I got to run. Spontaneously, yeah. Oh my god. No! Release the brakes, you... No! No! Release the air!
Painful. Pain.
Oh! Oh!
Flatspot.mp4?
The sound, I don't know. I thought... So flat spot sounds, when you're listening to wheels slide, it sounds like bacon sizzling. And I don't know if I heard that exactly on this or not. No, you can definitely hear it. I was halfway conflating it with the sound of the locomotive boiling water almost. But listen for a sizzling bacon sound, and you can hear it. It has Doppler that goes with the thing. That's the sound of flat spots happening, because when it gets further away, it's harder to hear. They're still sliding. Still bacony, but distant bacon. And when they stop, it's a lot to listen to on top of that with the whatever the sound is. And then, of course, the air pump's going like mad and everything. 33504. That was not the one I ran. I don't know which one that was.
Weird harmonic sound just be it sliding, like the harmonics in the rail?
No, it's because it's still going now.
Okay.
That's something in the industry, in the air or something. 504, that might have been the one I saw under annual. Look real quick. I'm curious now. And I know that I've got some more top chats to go to, but sorry, finding some pictures. These are pictures in Croatia. How dare you say they're in Bosnia?
I have my chat set to the last super chat that we left off on.
Thank you. God, yeah, it's pulling up all my last day Croatia pictures rather than stuff from Bosnia. When I search, Google Photos needs to learn itself. Okay. Well,
Google already knows everything about you. They should just figure this out.
I was gonna say, they're already stealing all of my information. Like, why not just make it easy? Okay, there's Slovenia, and scrolling up, there's thumbnails for Slovenia. There's that's Bosnia. I skipped right past the trains because I took no pictures of the trains in Bosnia because I took like 6 pictures in Tuzla because I was filming so much. 504. Is that this engine?
Yes.
No, that's 233. That was the one that was one of the ones in the shop when we were there. And then there was another one in the shop that was getting its annual inspection. That might have been 504, maybe. I don't know, it's hard to say. Oh, but I needed that to look through the other photos. I saw 6 Kriegslokes that day. Let's see, which one was this one? Oh, it didn't capture enough detail to say which one it is. Too much heat haze. That was the other one that was under steam. That wasn't the one I got to run.
If you caught 6, the chances are probably pretty good you saw it at least.
Right, I'm sure. I'm pretty sure I saw all the ones that run, because the 6th one was one that did not run. It was DED dead. And then I ran this one, which is... this isn't at the mine I ran at. This is at the other mine. It just looked kind of similar. Which I think is 238 is the one that I ran. But anyway. Yeah, that's a single tier, but the bacon sound is the sound of the sliding wheels. And then let's see, this is the other clip. And this is the 060. I don't know where this is. This must be at the power plant. Look at how much the link is swinging. Oh, stop sliding the drivers everywhere, you guys.
They got places to be.
Oh god, and it runs in reverse.
Is them grabbing too much brake, or is it actually slippery?
They're grabbing a lot of brake, and then I'm sure the track is slippery too. I don't know where this is. I don't know what location this is. This doesn't look like anywhere I went. Oh my god, look at it do the dance. Oh my god, and it's so out of time. Lori told me that the 060 worked out of the other mine, and I didn't find this place. I found the other place, though, and I ran a Kriegslook, so my universe was fulfilled. So, yeah, goodness. More, it's the bacon sound. That's the wheel sliding sound that nobody likes. Yeah. The rest of it, Daniel McKee, hello, glad to catch you in the office. Could you speak a little on valve gear? You've heard Southern was an attempt to simplify wall shirts, but I don't see how. Neither do I. Southern, it does prevent the link from swinging, and it relies on more dynamics than anything else. But
Southern is love, Southern is life.
I don't know how it's simplified, other than fewer shit that moves, I guess. But I would have to understand Southern first to answer that. So we're working on it. BNSF Bandit, hey Hyce, you collect train horns as much as you steam people collect whistles, and was wondering what my favorite horn was if I had one. I don't have a particular favorite because I don't know that many. I know that I've studied a certain one, and I think it sounds quite nice. And it is, let's see, I don't know. I don't have a video that I particularly like, but Nathan M5. Sounds pretty cool. I don't have a particular favorite, but I haven't studied them that hard yet. Ask me in a year. I'm sure that I will be studying them much more, certainly, soon. So, Wasatch 4017, thank you for letting that HO scale car for your railroad. Cheers, man. I'm glad you enjoyed. Let's see. Okay. Chat just jumped a bunch. From Stein, another 50 euros. Goodness, man. Thank you. If I ever find myself in Slovenia, I'd love to show some hidden gems, model railroads, and the conversation hall. Hope you don't mind the question, but how do you get out of the fucked around and found out role? Been stuck here for a while. great question. DM me what your Discord username is, and we'll resort that and work on figuring that out. So if we can, we will. But goodness, yeah, I'd love to come see that. So I appreciate your top chats, and yeah, shoot me a DM. It's just Hyce on Discord. Send me a friend request. I'll accept it. No questions. So shoot it my way. Cliff Legault, I assume. Can I explain or do a visual representation of a double sawby? There's a CPKC passing sighting near me that you think they've been practicing them at. A double sawby? What's a double sawby?
Is that what they were attempting to do the night the Casey Jones wreck happened?
I don't know. I don't think so. Like a sawby is when you have train coming in and then another train coming in and it gets out of the way of the other train right as they need to cross. A double sawby would be like both trains are too long to fit in the siding but just barely and then they both cross past. I assume? I don't know. I'm not entirely certain what a double sawby constitutes. But
I thought it was just two trains in the act of a sawby where they were like facing each other and they had to go
that's just a sawby then. So what's a double sawby? Shrug. Ian Cowley, welcome to the Brakeman. Thank you, my friend. And then from Sir Liv, mine videos, are the wagons unfitted? I don't know.
Possibly?
They certainly might be. I didn't know enough about the Kriegslok when I ran it to be like, is that the independent? Is that the automatic? It's different than what I knew, so I was like, eh? But they sure did. When I ran with it, they sure did slam the brake on and throw the screw reverse the other way and open the throttle wide. So I would guess the wagons are probably not fitted or something. I don't know. Or they don't hook the air in, I guess. Yeah, shrug. Anyway, goodness. Great super chats. Love the support, everyone. Thank you. I don't want to hamper anyone's style, of course. Though if anyone wants to try another member chat now that I've changed settings again, I would, 10 members maybe. It'd be great. But I'm going to get back to pre-asked questions for a bit here. Midnight Shade 2049 asked, which narrow gauge locomotive had the worst luck? I don't know. East Broad Top 13, I suppose.
Oh god. Please no.
It's an inside joke that no one will get. Anyway. I like Pharrell Fan Productions. Do you think the narrow gauge line between Alamosa and Antietam would survive as a tourist line or a short line today? God, no. Well, it is a short line as standard gauge. It's still standard gauge. As a tourist line, no, they actually did for a brief bit. And fucking, of all humans, Leighton Moreland, wherever you are, fuck you. Leighton got to ride a train and got to transfer from standard gauge steam from Alamosa to Antietam to the Cumbres and Toltec the rest of the way over. Bastard. Dirty bastard.
Was that back from IOU Pacific?
Yes, many moons ago, when they ran steam and everything. The standard gauge is still there, but the thing of it is okay, what would you rather do? If you're running narrow gauge from Alamosa to Chama, okay, great. You're running from a big place to a small place, but it's really pretty line. That's great. Okay, and it's an 11-hour ride. Or you could drive 30 minutes from Alamosa to Antietam at highway speeds, get on the train, and make it a 8.5, 9-hour ride. Oh. It's just flat, boring, straight, and the Ks don't go that fast. So it just doesn't have any excitement. There's nothing that the railroad gains by starting there. So, yeah. From Titanic Kid, thoughts on the Southern Pacific Streamline P10s that ran the San Joaquin Daylight? I don't know exactly what a P10 is off the top of my head, but I think I know what it is.
It's their stream. I think that the P10s were specifically their like semi-streamlined Pacifics.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. Yeah, those are cool. Those are cool. Those are cool. With the Vanderbilt tender and the semi-streamlined, or the Skyline casing. The SP, I'm a closet SP foamer. Some people know this. If I said that these were bad, Joel would come hunt me down and slap me or something. But, yeah, those are freaking cool. Genuinely freaking cool. So, good question. Jameson Carpin, were there any dangerous routes along the Denver and Rio Grande Railway back then? Every railway had their, more treacherous places than others, and there certainly were some in the DNRG. I've read about many in this book, and yes, to those of you who are listening, I know that I'm very overdue on finishing the damn thing. Once I get kind of ahead of speed, we get the COS devlog out of here, all that shit. Hopefully I can get that moving again and get it out of my way. I see top chats are coming in, but I'm going to read a couple more of the pre-asked questions. Tiger's Death. If an engine runs out of water in both tender/side tanks and the boiler while the boiler's cold, how do you add water to the boiler since you need steam to use the water injector? A pump. Mechanically at the shop. You just pump some water in there. Electric pump. Plug it into the wall, it pumps water. Congrats. Mr. Junior Laws, why are drivers timed the way they are? And is there any locos that deviated from the standard timing? Plenty. Yeah, they're timed the way they are so that you get 2 power strokes per cycle on a typical engine with 2 cylinders, so that you get even power strokes all the way across. The ones that differed were ones that didn't have 2 cylinders or that were clapped out. So, anyway. Little Penzi, if I had to bring back any engine, which would I bring back and why? Probably the Yunta Articulateds, because they're really fucking cool, and I would get to see them run in Colorado, probably. Because if I said bring back any big mainline engine, it wouldn't run, because the big mainline engines that get to run are the 4014 and the 2102.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyone else?
And if you said the Montezuma, well, that's kind of
already... The Montezuma, we have the capability to bring that back.
Exactly.
I don't have the capability to bring back an articulated, but I can sure as hell bring a 240 back from the dead, even if it takes 10 years.
I was just saying that because I knew you were bringing it back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're quiet, John, by the way, if you want to turn your mic up or whatever. Celestial Caboose 2472. Why did some steam locomotives have injectors and other had water pumps, and how often did they have both? Did injectors have pros and cons over water pumps and vice versa? On locos with both, would you use an injector in certain situations and the pump in others, or was it just redundancy? Well, it depends on which kind of pump you're talking about. If you're talking about a mechanical pump, sorry, it depends, drink. If you're talking about a mechanical pump, you have to be rolling for them to work, which is the old school thing. If you're talking about more modern engines, okay, the pump is for a feed water heater system, which means it's more thermodynamically efficient. Which is great when you've got exhaust temp and pressure to do it. So if you're running, you should be using the pump. If you're stationary, it doesn't really matter. You should be using the injector probably. So yeah, whether it's old school or new school, pumps are for if you're running and you've got stuff going on, and injectors are for if you're sitting there, pretty much. So yeah. And one more, and then we'll go to the top chats. Aaron Smitterberg, 847, asks, hey Mark, I've been watching my channel since the beginning, but I've never known how did I grow such a passion for trains. I'm curious to know the same for Brett and Leighton. I actually don't know Brett and Leighton's train story off the top of my head, without them being here to tell it. So I would assume it's similar, but I don't know for sure. For me, it was my granddad had the Lionel train set on the floor, big layout. And I saw it when I was a couple years old and fell down the rabbit hole. And then I spent every weekend of my youth with him, basically, until he passed away. But he left an undeniable impression on me that got me into this space. So, yeah, I forever have him to thank for everything that I do. So,
wish I had that sincere of a story.
Yeah, some of us just like trains. I will answer one more just because I know the next time when. The next question is Aaron Bice or Aaron Beese 7900 said it's almost been 2 years since the video is posted. When will the Hubris 6 make its return? Probably twice, coming in October. We haven't had it on an engine since October after the video, so it's going to be about 2 years since I've heard it this October, but about 2.5 years since the video came out. I'm going to be at the Kentucky Steam Whistleblow. Another event I'm going to be at. Mark your calendars, everyone. Yes. There is a Whistleblow at the Kentucky Steam group that has the 2716. And I'm not sure of my official role and of the exact date. I think it's the 5th of October. Let me double check before I tell you all, because I'm planning. Sounds yeah, right. 5th of October. There's a Whistleblow. People are going to bring their whistles from all over the place. They're going to have a boiler steamed up, and we're going to be blowing steam whistles. I don't know if they're expecting me to speak or talk or just be a guy, but they want me out there, and I'm going to be there, and I'm going to do my damnedest to bring my whistle with me. If that means stuffing it in my carry-on and hoisting around an 100-pound carry-on bag, I will.
I don't think that's allowed.
ESA is gonna fucking
I'm
love
sure
you.
it's not allowed, but it's gonna happen anyway. If I'm carrying it on, I'm the one that's lifting it. So,
I mean, I got a place real close you can send it to, because I live like 45 minutes from there.
Well, good to know. Worst case, maybe I'll have to drive to that too, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Either way, after that, I got agreement from Jeff to put it on 91 for Harvest Haunt when she runs, assuming she's back in service then, because I found a camera that I need to buy.
Oh boy.
Which is, it's not stupid expensive for a camera. It's not cheap, but I've been wanting to for a long time. Been wanting to see how a whistle works, and with the GoPros, look, I have a prop right here. With the GoPros, you can get 240 FPS out of them, and I have a 240 FPS recording of my whistle being blown, and you can sort of see the individual pulses of steam going into the biggest chimes at 240. So it's like we're almost there. If it was only a little faster, you could really see it. And anything high speed is a bazillion thousand ridiculous dollars to do. Just not going to happen. But Sony makes a camera that does 960 FPS in video, which is like, okay, it's 40x slow-mo versus 8x, which is 5 times slower than the GoPro does. So 5 times slower would do quite a while better. But it would be, but it's a fair bit cheaper than some of those other things. So it's like, okay, yeah, it would be, $1,500 to get the camera, but it saves me from buying a consumer grade high-speed camera, which is $7,000 and dubious, or trying to rent a Phantom or something for a day. That, or if anyone knows Smarter Every Day and wants to tell him to come to Kentucky and film some whistles with me, I emailed him once and he didn't get back to me, so that'd be great. So.
Or the slow-mo guys.
Yeah, I was gonna say try Gavin Free.
Or the slow-mo guys, dude. It's so funny. They record at the not the museum. They record at the School of Mines. They record at my alma mater. They've done several videos at the School of Mines. That's where I went to college. That's just down the street from the museum. So that's definitely something. If you guys got a good contact for him, if you guys can shoot him a message, we can bombard people and be like, hey, we're going to record a whistle with a high-speed camera and save me $1,500. I mean, that'd be great. Plus, it'd be a great collab. But recording all sorts of shit on slow-mo on a steam engine, that'd just be cool. Come on.
That would be cool.
So, yeah, if you guys got contacts for them, either send me the contact or shoot him a message and be like, yo, this guy wants to do this. Because I really do want to do this. Anyway, either way, the Hubris 6 will be making its return in October, whether or not it's for film or for the Steam Up event thing. So
very nice.
Yeah.
Well, I wish to meet you there.
Yeah, dude, come on out. It'd be great. Okay, goodness. Top chats, man.
You're looking for Millbrook Railroad member for 12 months.
Yep. Aaron's here. You made a year. Brakes are overrated. You don't have any And you keep telling me that you're the live Steam ES&D, and you keep proving it. So just keep that in mind. Allison Chains found a video demonstrating a double sawby. The quality's not great, but mind if I send you the link? Do not mind. Feel free and send it. Richard Akins, what is the neatest shunter I know of? Neatest, as in terms of most cool. I really liked the God, I can't remember what they call it. They might call it the donkey, but the Plymouth that has no cab or anything at the Carson City, Nevada State Railroad Museum. It's pretty fun. It's pretty neat. There's a lot of better neat shunters and a lot of weird ones throughout history, but if I have to pick the neatest one, I guess I love Pee-wee. I love our switcher, so. More, it's Schwarzer. Old German OMS wagons, fitted, just not hooked in. Yeah, that would do it. Sounds about right. Matt the Crack, did I see the pic of 473 getting T-boned by a potato truck? Posted in Real Trains. I haven't seen that pic, but I've known that story forever. I had, first time I rode the Durango in Silverton in 2010, I bought the book. I was like, I want that. I want the book that has all the things, and they had the story of the potato truck hitting the 473. Let me see if I can find that easily in Real Trains here. God, I'm having to scroll all over the place. Oh God. Oh, there it is. Christ on a bike. Yeah, that was a bad time. A potato truck lost its brakes coming down from Silverton, and it jumped the intersection in Durango, and it nailed the side of the 473.
Feel for the driver of the semi-truck.
He apparently survived. They had to cut him out. I think the steam engine was dead, but yeah, I mean, God, what a horrifying time. Because he had apparently tried to slow it down and run into guardrails and everything the whole time and lost brakes and, yeah, jumped the curb and plowed right into the 73. And thankfully, everyone survived, from what I recall. So,
one of those, very glad he didn't hit anybody.
For real, yeah. Of all the things to run into a steam engine, brick shit house, so, yeah. Roder Davis, what's my opinion on the goofy 10-wheeler streamliners the Milwaukee Road used on the Hiawatha? They had 10-wheeler versions of those?
They did. I think they're like T17s or
Milwaukee
P17s, something like
Road 10-wheeler.
Yeah.
Streamlined.
But they were a thing, and they're kind of neat.
Those are kind of cool. I mean, still, to me, I see the crazy slant front, and my brain just goes, oh, it's an Atlantic. But no, it's a 10-wheeler.
Oh, so you don't even go for the Hudsons?
God, they had Hudsons in that configuration, too?
Slightly, yeah.
Cool.
Not as streamlined, but still streamlined.
They had Atlantics, then they had God. I just see the streamlining, and so the engine underneath doesn't surprise me. A 10-wheeler, I mean, less speed, but a little bit more traction. That's pretty fucking bitchin'. That's pretty cool. Yeah, cool. Cool, man. Josh M, you got a book of deal tell diagrams, Japanese SLs that shows the dual Stoker and oil burner that was added to the C62. Would I like to see them? Yeah. Send them my way. That'd be great. Alan Knight, 22 months as an engineer. Hard to think I've been telling you to shut up and take my money for almost 2 years. Time is fake. Yes, it is. Glad to see you here, man. Person 723, hey Hyce, you ever seen the international tractor engines that start on gas and switch to diesel like an MD or a 450? Like the same bore burns gas and then diesel?
Yep.
I don't think I've seen that before. That might be a new one for me.
I've heard about that, but I've never seen it.
That's cool. Send me a picture. Stein, you've seen a lot of U.S. locos without a speedometer. How do you know how fast you're going? Count the telegraph poles is the classic answer. The telegraph poles were all spaced right, and you had a watch. You had telegraph poles. You could do the math. For the more musically autistic of us, I count the beats per minute, and I know based on the driver size how many chuffs per minute or how many clunks of the rods is what speed. One of our conductors was giving us sass about you're running too fast, and I knew I was running bang on exactly 8 mile an hour and 491 at the time. And I was like, no, I went 8 the whole time. He'd been giving me crap about running too fast all day, so he pulled out a GPS Speedo app and came up to me afterwards and went, you were right, you were doing 8 the whole time. And I was like, yeah. But this tempo. And that engine is 8 mile an hour. It's just funny. So you do one of those methods of the above for the older stuff. So. Breathe the Boomer, you've got Balden's worst design in my DMs. Oh, and I have another DM that I need to look at.
Yes.
Who is the first DM from?
It was a while ago. I just remember you telling me to write down Discord message.
Well, I have DMs from Leighton and Brett, Breathe the Boomer, and Allison Chains. It's one of them, unless it was somebody who added me as a friend. Stein is the person who's been talking about Slovenia things, so maybe it's from Gold Leader. Gold Leader, I just added you back if you've got the thing. But Breathe the Boomer, let's take a look and see what you got. Why would you do this? It's a 422. It's a 422 Camelback. Why would you? What? This might be Balden's worst design if it's real.
What is it of?
It's a 422 Camelback. It's pretty bad.
No, I think that was a inspection engine, or I think that was.
Oh god, and it's a Vauquelin compound. Fuck.
I think that may have actually been a thing. I feel like part of me is saying like is sure it was a thing, but part of me is not sure.
I can never be too trusting anymore on the internet these days. That's either way, yeah, it's cursed, goofy, interesting. Anyway, Molten House, try a collab with Slow-Mo guys on YouTube. Yeah, I'd love to. Like I said, it's not a simple thing to just. God damn it! I had my meeting with my YouTube lady today, and I was supposed to ask her about this shit. Oh well. It's not. I've never had luck just cold emailing any of those guys. So if you guys all do it, be like, hey, this guy, let's do it. Because I would arrange, and it wouldn't be smart. Because I know what it costs to fire up an engine for the day, so I'd cover the cost to fire up the engine at the museum. If they couldn't do a Steam update, I would fire it up for them, cover the cost, and that wouldn't cover the cost of. It wouldn't cover what the the revenue would make from the video. It just wouldn't. Steam choosers are expensive, and video advertising is sad. But I would cover the cost if they could come out whenever to film stuff, dude. And if they can come up when the engine's steamed up, that'd be great. But filming whistles, filming all sorts of shit. There's all sorts of neat shit we could film on the engine. Filming wheel slip in slow-mo, seeing the track and everything. Like, come on. That could be so cool. Yeah.
Slow-mo valve
Could you make a glass whistle?
I know not enough about glass material properties to say yes.
I feel like
my gut says no, but there's probably some kind of crazy glass that could maybe work, which would be interesting. But you don't. The thing is, you don't necessarily need one to show the effect. You need a slow motion camera that can see the steam going in and out. Because you could almost see it on the damn GoPro, and I'd pull up the footage for you. It'd just take me 30 years to find, and I've got other stuff I need to do tonight. So. Otherwise I would, but either way.
Well, I was like being able to see like inside of it as it's doing it.
It would be interesting to see it change direction, and see the actual fluid mechanics would be really cool. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe not glass, but maybe a plexi or something.
I wonder if that would affect the harmonics at all.
Well, so I'm gonna have to go find this fucking video clip now. Whistles don't vibrate. It's not. Okay. It's not the metal that makes the sound. It's about the smoothness of the metal that gives the timbre.
Gotcha.
Which different metals have different smoothnesses, which gives different timbre. But the timbre is by and large coming from the fact that the the chamber is a certain length, and the steam can fill and then evacuate that chamber a certain number of times per second with certain geometry conditions. That's basically what a whistle is. I have no idea how I'm gonna find this quickly. So material, like a whistle doesn't vibrate. If you think that is a whistle that is shaking and vibrating like a guitar string that's making the sound, you're wrong.
It's the air itself.
It's the fluid itself, which is part of the reason why I think it's the steam, because the temperature of the steam makes the difference. I think. I don't know. I haven't been able to. This is my hypothesis. I haven't been able to truly prove it, and I'd love to prove it. So I'm hoping that I can collab with my alma mater to get a thermal imaging camera to look at a whistle and post the footage. But a high speed camera, like one of those Phantoms, like that's a couple $100,000. Like it's like a fucking Lamborghini. Like it's not cheap.
I think it's more expensive than
even renting is.
Renting it for a day is more than buying the consumer grade one, which requires considerable expertise to learn, and then still it may not be the right thing. Which is why I'm like, honestly, at the end of the day, like I don't need a bazillion FPS. I need like 1,000, like that Sony will do, is probably enough to show the effect that I'm looking for, but I don't know. And God, it might be... I'm looking at my YouTube history and realizing that I probably filmed those whistles in 2022, not 2023, and time is fake. So I'm not going to be able... I can't find that footage right here, right now.
Time is an illusion.
Time is fake. Yeah. Let me get through these top chats, and then I got a message from Beeman, and I got to record some more stuff. I gotta record some more stuff, and I gotta work on Century Steam some more tonight too, and I want to have some time for me. So, goodness, we're gonna try and get this buttoned up here in the next 30 minutes ish if we can. So
lightning round.
I don't know if it'll be a lightning round, but we'll try it. Obviously, I appreciate you guys' support, and I'm not gonna harsh your mellow, but anyway. Trunup Gaming. Texas and New Orleans, actually Southern Pacific, undercover due to Texas law, correct. Had fully streamlined Pacifics that were TNOs, hobby shops in Houston. Pulled the Sunbeam between Galveston and Dallas. You could provide picks. Layton has one. Some of the daylight cars in the video that I ran with the GS4 from Broadway Limited were Layton's daylight cars before I got the whole set. I got so lucky. Joel from the last season of 3/4 show, his dad is a mega SP foamer and HO scale. Like, he has modeled the Oakland Mole to scale in Fremo in HO.
Oh, God.
It's fucking dope. He's a big SP guy. But he was downsizing some stuff, and he had a whole set of all of the cars I was missing of the late Coast Daylight set from BLI, and he gave me a really good price on it. And so I bought the whole set. So I now actually have 21 daylight cars. I need a helper engine, which I'm waiting on BLI from. Although I have the big boy that I still got to do a video with, which I got to talk to people to film. But I'm still kind of getting my fucking head screwed on straight. So anyway. Rescues Greyhounds, Fireman 8 months. Are European whistles bad because they use vacuum brakes instead of air brakes? No, they're bad because they chose them to be bad because they have no taste. That's my answer. It's final, and it's entirely a joke, but not really. Anyway. Rescues Greyhounds, why is inside/outside Stevenson cursed? It's cursed just because 99.99% of locomotives I've ever seen have inside Stevensons mounted where you can't see it, and seeing it outside mounted on the external side of the cranks makes it look so much different, and makes it feel really weird. And it's also more delicate than the rest of the running gear, so like having it exposed to where it might get hit by something is kind of strange. Is it truly cursed? No. Is it weird? To me, yes. Is it standard in a lot of Europe? Yes. But Europe also moved a lot of less tonnage than we did. So, shrug. Let's see. Oh god, it just dropped. I did miss a chat from Michael and Bessie. Opinion on the Lackawanna cutoff, aka when the DLW decided to take a flat straight line regardless of the actual train they're traversing. It's a choice. A little stupid, but it's a choice. Oh, then Brew had the most cursed. Oh, there's a second cursed design.
There's another one?
Is there another one? No, it's the same one. I haven't seen a second one. Okay. They just super chatted the second time to remind me. Okay, that was what I was confused. Okay. Either way, thank you. Starlive, were corridor tenders a thing in the US? And if not, why not? I'm not sure. Maybe on the Penzi or the New York Central, maybe. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you know Midland?
Yeah, I don't recall hearing about it. Maybe I don't recall it being a thing, and I think the reason it wasn't a thing is because
ours could actually make it stop to stop, even when it's really big stop, because they just made really big tenders.
The whole point of the corridor was to change out crews on the fly, but our crews went farther and would just stop at a normal station and swap out.
Right.
So they weren't going for that necessarily.
Yeah, from our crew during a normal crew shift. In the US, you could run from the south of the UK to the very north, probably. So that's probably why. Because we'd run for 12 hours, and at the speeds we would run back in the day with steam, you'd make it to Scotland at the very least. So, Vicious E3, Hyce, ever seen an Elko RSD1? You can send pics. RSD1?
It's an RS1, but with 3-axle trucks under it instead of 2-axle.
Yeah, and I've seen that. Neat, though. Person 723 put a picture of gas start diesel in not trains. Okay, not trains.
Oh, a little pony motor.
I was gonna just post a link in it there in the
if you could
MOW
post
discussion.
a link in MOW, that'd be fantastic.
There you go.
Thank you. Okay, so it's not a true pony motor because it's the same bore. Like a pony motor's acting as a starter as a motor, but so Farmall did that. You start on gas and then swap the lever over. That's fascinating. It's cool. So it's got separate intake valves for that. Which why not? It all burns. It's cool. That seems like smart engineering. So, cheers. Jacob Pfeiffer, 10 months. Any more talk on the ES&D HO equipment? Leighton's working on a modern boxcar right now. Last time I'm aware. So, yeah. Jackson Wages, 276 watching and only 37 likes. Y'all fix this. Hi, Hyce. Yeah, come on, guys. 271 and only 30. Just click the like button.
Like, comment, subscribe, join the Discord, buy the merch.
That thing, yeah. Goofy Critter, quick, just a question. What makes a geared engine different from regular ones? They have gears. What was the misnomer there?
They use gears instead of rods, but also rods and...
Well, so the difference is, imagine you took your car engine and you just directly hooked it to the wheel. So you got a V8, and you just bolted a wheel on the flywheel. That's most steam engines. That's almost all of them. Geared engine, like a Shay, Heisler, whatever. You put a transmission in between them, but you can't change the gears unless it's the weird kind of climax that could. It's a very small percent of the population. Yes, there were some that could change gears, but they could only change gears while stationary for very good reason. But then you have a gear ratio. So geared steam means that there is a gear multiplication out from the engine to the wheels. So part of the big thing why horsepower doesn't make sense for a steam engine is that horsepower comes from how fast you can spin your engine. Horsepower is all about force per second. So the more seconds you can spend in your engine, the more horsepower you have, but you may not be able to pull jack shit, right? Like a Lamborghini makes 1,000 horsepower, but you can bet your ass it's not gonna fucking pull anything. but an F7 makes like 1,500 horsepower, and you know what an F7 can pull, right? It's got a lot more torque, and there's an electronic conversion and all sorts of shit in there, right? With steam engines, your crank from the engine, your piston, it's just on the wheel. There's nothing. So the engine can only run as fast as it can, and you very quickly limit how quickly you can submit steam in there. You lose power really quickly, so you never develop a true full horsepower reading, despite always being able to make that full torque unless you're really running fast compared to a normal petrol or gas engine. But a geared engine then takes that and multiplies that through a gear ratio. So like a Shay, it's like 2-to-1, 3-to-1, depends on the manufacturer, depends on the thing, whatever. So that means that for every rotation of your wheels, they rotate twice, your engine rotates 4 times. So your engine's running a lot faster, train's moving really slow, but it's got more power, or torque at least. Not necessarily, the engine has more power because it's running faster. The locomotive has more torque because it is applying more force because it's geared down. It's an interesting little nuance there. So that's kind of where the difference comes in. Oh my god. Chat just jumped. There's so many more people. Thank you so much,
You're
guys.
looking for Allison Chains reminding you about the double saw-by video.
Double saw-by in my DMs. That's right, from Allison Chains. Thank you. Yeah, let me take a look at that. From Allison Chains. The double saw-by. Oh god, is this MSTS? What is this? Okay, Choo-Choo goes in. This is like Train Sim 2009 recorded by a potato. Oh, and I'm not even sharing it. Sorry.
Very early Train Sim.
No, this is Railworks before it was Railworks. This is probably Kuju's Rail Simulator. Or maybe it's Railworks, but yeah, it's the current Train Sim classic, but when it was not classic. Okay, so the first train is in there, and it fouls the thing. So the second train comes in. It's got a B unit and an A. Oh, God. This reeks of early Train Sim. Okay, so the second train, it must vaguely fit in the pocket, and then the first train can sneak out around it, then he can go. Okay, that's kind of what we surmised.
Yeah.
Weird. Yeah, that's a time. Interesting. Cheers for that. Patrick McNeely, make sure the GTO can drive like a bat out of hell if any of those fires pop up near you. Also, I've seen the video of the GTO with many bullet holes in it. It's wild. I have. It's crazy. That thing was screwed. Knock on wood, the fires are way north, way south of me. I'm hopeful that they don't come to me. God, if they do come, I don't know if I would drive the GTO. I would hate to have it go, but I would probably drive the truck. I don't know.
Well, that's right. You have a truck now.
I have a truck now. Yeah, that's a recent thing. It was a stupid financial thing, but yeah, I've got a truck instead of the WRX. But at the same time, the WRX was due for more work than I paid down on the fucking truck. So, anyway. Wild Games 69, do my best demon face to a cursed engine. I'd have to see the cursed engine. Thank you, though. Ahsoka Tano, don't you dare tarnish my mellophone. Sorry. Josh M, you pinged me with real trains with those diagrams. Okay.
Yep. And I have the link to that message in the MOW discussion.
Thank you guys for doing that. That makes so much more ease of thing for me.
Yeah, we're trying to help you.
Yeah, it helps. It helps a ton. It's hard to manage some of this shit. So let's pull up. There's 4 different pictures. Okay, so I guess the first one's the layout. It's a Hudson. An entirely sloped box with a crazy arch on it. Look at how tall the firebox is, and look how big the arch is on the arch brick. That's cool. And then this is Stoker with the Stoker table. Look at the Stoker table, how it has the divisions in it. Oh, that's cool. Oh, and you could see, look at the articulation of the Stoker screw. So you have the U-joint, presumably the engine's back there, and then it's got 2 U-joints in it the whole way up. Then it deposits the coal at the table. This is actually some of the best Stoker anything I've ever seen. And then this is reference for braces and siphons? Maybe? Or is it the footing of the table? I'm not sure. That might be the table. I'm not sure what that is.
If I remember right, they said this was both a Stoker diagram as well as an oil firing diagram.
Oh, the rest of this is all Stoker. But that is freaking cool, man. Wow. It's got butterfly doors. That's... Dude. Again, I could stare at this for an hour, and I'd have a lot of fun. But we got a lot of folks hoping to still get my attention here, so we'll finish up here shortly. Dude, Josh, thank you. For the boomer, just look at it was made. The cursed garbage is PNR. Oh, God.
Oh, God.
And I think I have that in my DMs from you. No, yeah, they did make it. Okay. 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 Thanks. Thanks. PNR. 422 Vauquelin compound. Camelback.
There's the demon face.
I think that's an appropriate
There's
reaction.
the demon face for you. 80 former wanted to get this in before the end. Please don't forget the model critique if you want any else videos and show. Just ask or provide. Roger, yeah. I'm busy the next several days. Shoot me a reminder next week in email, and I'll be sure to go through it. But yeah, this week is going to be busy. Jessica Stark, assuming you could run it safely, could one replace the combustion boiler in a steam engine with a nuclear pile and have it run? Yeah. Assuming you could. You could boil water with a nuclear reactor, and then a steam locomotive could run. There's no questions there. There's a lot of people from the government that would like to know where you live.
Yeah.
There's a lot of questions about, okay, what if you crash? What happens when you expose the crown sheet of a nuclear reactor? Oh, it happened somewhere in the Ukraine in the 1980s, in case you were curious. Obviously there's a lot smarter nuclear technologies too that would actually probably make sense. It'd be interesting. It would actually be very interesting to do a study on like a molten salt reactor with a heat exchanger for a steam engine propulsion setup, because theoretically it'd be totally safe, where running out of water would not be a problem because it's a closed system with a molten salt versus something else, which would be very interesting. But like a traditional nuclear reactor, not so much. So anyway, good question though. Michael and Bessie, origin if they were green. It's a bit of a play and a joke on people being mad on the internet, more or less. There's a myth / held standard / myth of the Rio Grande engines having green boiler jackets, and there's some people out there that are certain that they never did, and there's some people that are out there that are certain that they did, and either way, the people who got very butthurt over them certainly not having them were very vocal individuals. So that's probably the origin of the meme. Is it true? Is it not? What do I think? It's hard to say. It seems to me that some of the engines were probably painted green. The standard that gets tossed around says that they would have been painted green in the 1930s. Any of the engines on the railroad, on the Rio Grande. Not just the narrow gauge, not just the standard gauge, not just the passenger, not just the rate. Any of them would have been painted green. But there's photographic evidence, very small amount. And everyone's like, oh, well, the photos show that they're black and white. Well, it's like, well, they puke all over themselves very quick. I have a sequence of pictures of when we painted 91 green. She was black and white by 2 days later. The next day, she was kind of green, and the second day, she was just black. So, it's kind of a challenging thing. What was, what wasn't, I don't know. I personally think some of them definitely were. I don't know if 91 was. We don't have any proof. The second batch of K-37s look like they were painted green. Not sure, but they look like it. There's a delivered picture of 497, and she looks green. Let me see if I can find it. I don't know if I can find it with a quick Google search or not. Oh yeah, I can. Look at that. Love that. Love that. Thank God for the narrow gauge forums sometimes. But you look at this picture of 97. This is her shipped brand new in 1930 to Alamosa via flat car. And she's mostly painted black. All the black, no silver trim, no nothing. Black cab. The jacket and the cab are a very disparate color.
Mm-hmm. That's very distinctly different.
Is that a black jacket? I don't know. The rest of it's painted black. Andrew Brandon, I could not rest without having mentioned Andrew Brandon, of course, has a paint standard that he believes that they were painted gray, which, assuming the paint standard's legit, which knowing Andrew probably is, yeah, that would make sense, but he only copy-pasted the information in a Discord. I've never seen the original doc, so I'm going to hold you to scanning that, Andrew. Until then, to me, this is green. But this is the second batch. This is 1930. The green was a 30 standard. The gray would have been a 20s standard when 91 was done. But to people that said, no, they were only ever painted black, to quote my sister, who's a professional licensed artist, who made the channel logo, you've now seen her in videos. I'm so happy that she was happy to do that shit, too. She was great for that. She's a way better artist and cinematographer and color and everything person than I ever will be. But when I asked her about this, and she was like, I showed her this picture, and she just goes, well, with it being a black and white picture, you can't say for sure what color it was, but you can say for sure one thing, it's not black. Yeah. So it's green or it's gray or it's something, but it's not black. And people will still say, well, it's black and white picture, it's the reflection of the sun that makes it look like that, so it's not black. Or it's not green, it's black. And it's like, no, you're full of shit. But anyway, that's kind of where that comes from. We think the 37's late. Some of the other engines probably got painted green at some point. It's not really the world's most important thing to argue about, but here we are. Yearly Jim is 98. Engineer for 20 months. 20 months, 4 to go. Anyways, you got done after cleaning up. Massive storm came through, knocked down a lot of fences, trees. Anyway, real question time. What is the benefit of a split brass over a single piece one? Great question. Split brass, generally regarded as old school in the US, but generally regarded as better in places abroad. It was so funny to talk. I had some friends come out from Poland, and they talked about how the single piece brass was such a problem because the standards of maintenance were so different. Split brass is great in that because it's two pieces. As it wears, you can hone it, refit it, make a new pin, tighten the wedge, and that brass lives for a very long time, and you can keep it tighter for longer. That said, it's an imprecise fit. It's not a complete circle. It doesn't hold the whole pin. It doesn't hold concise throughout the whole geometry of the wheel. You don't get as better force, or as good of a force translation through it the whole time as a complete circular brass. Complete circular brass being made, more expensive. You make it one time. It's kind of junk afterwards, but it lasts a little bit longer because it doesn't end up having as much lopsided forces and everything on it. So if you're going to keep something running low budget for a long time, split brass is kind of the way to go. But if you're going to try and run something with really tight tolerances, solid piece, way to go. Legendary Collector. Hey, Hyce, just got out of the hospital after pneumonia and sepsis almost killed me. Jesus Christ. I'm glad you're here, my friend. And your content helped me get through that. I love your content. Never stop. P.S. You live 30 minutes from Strasbourg Railroad. Dude, I don't know what to say other than I'm happy you're here. I'm so sorry you had to deal with that. I can't even imagine how tremendously hard that must have been. And to know that I helped a little bit, it's a little something to help keep me going. So, dude, I'm glad you're still here with us. Christ on a bike. That's a hard time. So, thank you. You're the Gymnast 98. So you're saying you've seen a locomotive, black boiler jacketing, crewed by the damned, captained by a conductor so evil that dispatch itself spit him back out. No. Exactly! There's no real train that can outmatch the fast mail. I want to pat myself on the back for recognizing what he was referencing with his quote within like 4 words.
It took, I will say it took me a second. That was creative.
Well done. Aiming right up my heart. I love pirates. Everything about that film. Yeah. Rescues Greyhounds. How do triple pistol 1 work? And what was the point of them?
I think they mean triple piston, so 3-cylinder.
Oh, triple pistons. Yeah. It depends. Obviously, I couldn't tell you about what I've since learned is God, what is the Locomotive works? I said it a number of times without knowing what it was. The engine I saw in Slovenia that was painted red, it had Henschel conjugated gear, which people told me it was Henschel conjugated gear. I couldn't find diagrams for it online. I'd love it if somebody could send me diagrams, because I'd love to try and comprehend it. Because I understand Gresley conjugated gear, and I understand double wall shirts and all that shit, but the Henschel conjugated gear I didn't quite get. And quick Google led me to nothing, and I have a feeling that most everything else that's documentary about it is going to be in a different language. So if anyone has info, I'd love to hear it, because I'd love to include it in the What I Learned video at the end of my Europe tour kind of video experience. But yeah, triple pistons, 3 pistons, yeah, you have the 2 on either side, and normally they're quartered so that, you know, one's all the way forward, one's in the middle of the stroke, and then they just kind of do the dance like this, so everyone's got a power stroke at the right time. When you get 3 cylinders, you clock them at 120 degrees, so you get an even 6 per thing. So you get rather than a chuff, 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 you get a chuff, 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 chuff going on. And there's a number of different ways to set that up, but the main rod usually runs to a crank on the axle like it's like a normal car engine. Like you have a crankshaft. Instead of an axle, you have a crankshaft that has a crank in the middle of it with just the one crank, and then it ties into there. And that's the same way that the 4-cylinder engines in Britain and France and all the other places work, except it's 2 cranks. And then, you know, you get more power out of it, except instead of 120 degrees, 90 degrees, blah, blah, blah. And more cylinder equal more power. So, there you go. Michael and Bessie, Ahsoka, Mellow Gang for the win. Love it. Oh man, Blackbird gifted 50 memberships, and you could just tell that the birds is still not fucking working as I'm scrolling up. Ah, damn it!
Well, for any consolation, thank you, Blackbird Gaming. You're looking for Ahsoka Tano.
Yeah, Ahsoka Tano. Does Michael also play French horn? I hope so. And Michael says, you play trumpet, but you march mellow. Love that. Nintendo 64, connected 20 months. You've recently realized the amount of different cog racking designs. Your cog, the OG Mount Washington, uses marsh racking. Pikes Peak uses Strub. It changed in 2017. So double check that. I don't know if that's the old or new one, but they recently re-racked the whole thing. So anyway, and I'm bummed that I changed the whole streaming platform to try and get the birds to work, and still no birds. Well, maybe it's YouTube's problem. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. Anyway, Blackbird Gaming, engineer 25 months. Nice to have a new lantern. Yes, gold and gold, my man. So good to see you here, mate. Blood and Pie Nexus, yay, Hycenator video, too bad I'm late. Yeah, we're about off here. And then Blackbird gifting 50 memberships. Goodness, yeah, I wish the birds were... I don't know what... Well, I tried 2 different programs. I don't know if it's YouTube shit's broken. I'm gonna have to talk to my my YouTube rep. Because right now it looks like it's showing. I'm getting the little notifications that people are becoming members.
Yeah.
And maybe it just goes through them, and maybe the birds play at the end, but it's being slow about it. I tell you what.
It's either that, or again, I think my theory is if it's like if the GIF/sound is greater than 5 seconds, it doesn't know what to do with it.
Well, the birds are 20 seconds ish, but it hasn't even played them like that. These other ones are.
Dear God.
All these other ones are, you know, supposed to be 2 seconds, but yeah.
Yeah.
From Munply Nexus, that has to be the best damned engineering conductor I've ever seen. You'll love to see it. And then, did Blackbird just give another 50?
Yes.
Yes, they did.
Christ on a bike. Thanks, dude.
That's why
I can't scroll to the super chats to find links to give you.
Hopefully, Blendpie Nexus was the most recent super chat.
Yeah, no, I think we're done with all the chats. It's just Blackbird just broke the economy twice.
Yeah.
Guys, I think all I can do is we're gonna finish the stream out with a double whammy of the marching birds.
Marching birds.
Manually. And we'll do it one more time because of our band Blackbird just being the way he be. Goodness, guys. Yeah, economy, what economy? Blackbird, everybody, guys, I sincerely appreciate you. I would not be lying if I was saying that it's been an easy year. YouTube is so volatile. And it's so frustrating in how volatile it can be. And so the love from you guys on super chats, top chats on live streams, whatever, I sincerely deeply appreciate, because this means that I can keep doing what I'm doing. Hopefully this upcoming fall season will be a little better. You never know, with Christmas time coming, maybe the ad revenue will come back. But you guys helping out and doing these things are doing the thing. So yeah,
we have 2 final super chats.
We do. Thayer Subdivision gifting $1. Thank you so much.
Oh God, no.
Oh God.
Blackbird Gaming. Is there a Blackbird cam yet? Oh my God. And then Mike B gifting 50. You guys for real. I don't know what to say. Do I have my
more burbs?
Do I have my silver Sharpie? If I have my silver Sharpie, that's a red. Oh, maybe it's in my bag.
Yes, but I think there should be.
I know. He should have one. That's a question of if I have a Sharpie. Oh, yes, I do. Okay. All right. Well.
Dear Jesus. 150 new.
We're doing this. We're doing this right here right now. And the funny sad thing is, one of the 4 cams. I have 4 GoPros. Well, I had 4 GoPros. I lost one somewhere in Slovenia or Croatia. I don't know where. It fell out of my bag, and I felt so stupid afterwards. And so I lost that one, and that was when I had a tracked, like, Carnet import-export document, and I had to report that I lost it, and I felt like a complete fucking dumbass. But a tradition of mine is I write the names of viewers on the cameras. The people that really support the channel have been memorialized on either cameras or my freaking thing. I've got Ezekiel, Blackbird, Midland, Mike Hall, Nicholas Downs, Trey Feller, like all across my monitor, written down in silver Sharpie. Midland's on GoPro cam number 3, which recorded most of my Bosnia stuff. Actually, all of my Bosnia stuff. The reason I didn't lose the footage is because I used this cam and I lost the other cam because it had Midland. I'd see it and I go, oh, it's got Midland's name on it, and I love Midland. He's a sweetheart. So I just ended up using that footage. This one, I I don't honestly remember who Cam 2 was. Cam 2 went for a little smoke box experiment that didn't end up well. The cam still works, but it melted a little bit. So it's now the sacrificial one. But to long story short, Blackbird, no, there is no Blackbird cam. And I can't dedicated say this will just be Blackbird cam because of what it is. But this is my Sony FX30. This is the cam that I've been using since last November-ish that I bought only because of you channel members, that I could only afford because of you channel members. There's no way I was ever going to get a camera this nice. But I'm going to... Blackbird, you're going number 1 on this, and I have a feeling I should probably... I'm just going to write Ezekiel on it as well. Just because... I don't think he's here, but I'm putting him on it anyways.
He was around last night, but I think he might be working.
Because Ezekiel's ridiculous. Ezekiel tallied it up the one time, and he's like, yeah, I've donated like $12,000 worth of memberships to you, and I was just like, you've done what? You mean you've paid my rent for like half a year in one go? What do you mean?
What do you mean?
So, Ezekiel's pretty special too, but for you guys, there you are. Blackbird, there is now a Blackbird cam. You're number 1 on there, my man. Ezekiel's got a GoPro, so he's also on the monitor too, as are you. But that was worthy of doing. Defacing a $2,000 camera. It's fine. $2,500 camera, or whatever the fuck it is.
It's fine. It's okay.
Yeah. So Cam's asked Mike B. Thank you so much for the 50 memberships. So much appreciate you. Blend Pine X's. To those wondering, yes, firebox and shovel camera still in progress. Got to make some time somewhere to fix your car. Head to museum. Dude, still excited to see if those become possible. But either way, guys, thank you so much, everyone. It's been such a fun stream. Great office hours. We didn't get much of the pre-asked questions asked, but you guys have been so bloody kind. So I don't know what to say. But I've gotta get off. Gotta record a video for tomorrow still. Gotta edit some stuff. Gotta work on some stuff for Century of Steam. So let me get these couple last top chats on this. Am I missing anything, Midland, other than these last ones that just came in?
Those last 2.
Thayer Subdivision, enjoy Hyce. Hope you have a good night. Thank you, my friend. And Jackson Wages, how much to get your name on 491? Work for the Rio Grande for 42 years and then die a beloved volunteer at the museum. And then it's possible. But until then, sorry. She's spoken for. Oh, Brill Bus coming in right at the last second. Hey, Brill. Welcome home, Mark. I hope you're enjoying home as much as vacation. Sure spoiled us with great pre-scheduled videos before leaving. I tried to. Mostly just to make sure that I, would be able to pay rent when I got back. But also so that I didn't lose touch. So, cheers, bro. Great to see you. Catch y'all next time, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out. Great stream. And I'm reflexively opening